Or if he loses, do we get a day off?
Maybe that's it.
Well, no, because he'll say, "Oh, yeah, okay." So if he wins, then he'll
Then
take
we
a
have
day.
to-
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
No, never mind.
So we'll just play for fun.
Forget that.
Donna Jackson from Project 21 in the National Center of Public Policy Research about electric cars are failing families, specifically black families. I mean, what did they expect sometimes?
I know.
People that can't, you can't take money away from us and not give us enough money to buy food and clothing for the kids, medicine, and then gas, and then rent, and then say, oh, here's a $70,000 car you got to buy, and if your battery fails, that costs what, another $20,000?
Another equivalent to another car.
Yeah, right.
Because it's $26,000 to $28,000 just to replace the battery.
Just for the battery.
Yeah.
And you can get a nice new car for $28,000.
Yeah.
So Donna's going to talk to us about that. We love her. Tim Jones, former Speaker of the House, current afternoon guy. Tim Jones, Chris Arps Show, 4 o'clock every day on News Talk STL. And, by the way, followed by Larry Connors, who, you know what, that show is so good. He is so good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just great.
He's like we've talked about before. I grew up listening to him or watching him and Julius Hunter, and just the way he talks about a news report, you're like leaning in.
Yeah, exactly. And he has these pauses, these dramatic pauses, which
Right.
are so great. Kate Uptergrove, managing editor of West News Magazine and Mid Rivers News Magazine. She'll be with us at 10:25. And Mark Harder from the St. Louis County Council, vice chair, of course. And when Ken and I went to go visit and tour the 911 Emergency Center on Hannah Road out in West County, the purpose of that was to get us to talk about it so maybe people will apply for the job.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it worked.
Good deal.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that. And
Well,
that's
we're always
it.
talking about also, Vic. We're always talking about how we can help. We want to try and help. And there's not a lot of ways sometimes that we can do that. So that when you see a result of something, it makes you feel so good.
That's part of our responsibility, actually.
Yeah.
Is to help the community.
Yeah.
Any radio station.
Yeah.
Right? This happens to be the best radio station
Right.
in the world. Okay, so let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll have coffee, and then we'll get rolling. Ken, who leads us today?
Well, our friend Nick Schroer,
Yes.
who said last night on social media that happy 78th birthday,
You
Ken.
look great for 78.
Hey,
Ken.
don't I?
You look
I
fantastic.
felt really good.
Yeah.
But he has 2 amazingly lovely little daughters.
He does. And one of which has a birthday today.
Has a happy birthday, and it's Delaney and Quinn, and they're going to do the pledge.
All right, go ahead, girls.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Man, oh man.
They meant every word of that.
Those little girls know more about civics than half the Democratic Party.
Right. Or 3/4.
Or 3/4 of the Democratic Party, as it turns out. All right, let's do a quick sip. First sip of the day. Oh, I'll wait for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, it's a good cup of coffee. First sip is brought to you by DiscountCoffee.com. Your favorite coffee can be delivered to your home or office with DiscountCoffee.com, and you can get 25% off your first order just by using the promo code TRUMP.
There you go.
Just that easy. DiscountCoffee.com. Okay, we got a busy show lined up today, so Ken, we got to squeeze in as much as we can here in this first segment.
Yeah.
A little kind of rapid fire. I'm so sorry. That was a Fox News alert right there. Oh, Ken goes, oh.
Ooh.
You know what that reminded me of? In trading places, when they're dressed up as the different people in disguise, and Eddie Murphy's the exchange student from Africa.
Yeah.
And Coleman, the butler, is dressed up as a priest. And he goes, beef jerky time. Eddie Murphy goes, beef jerky time. And he asks the priest, you want some beef jerky? He goes, oh, no, it gives me a bad case of the winds.
The winds.
And then Eddie Murphy goes, ooh.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's where your mind went, huh? Okay.
Well, when you said, oh, you might have
Right. No, I get it.
Okay. I mean, there's worse people I could compare you to than Eddie Murphy, right?
Oh, right.
Right. So this story just made me laugh, okay? Secret Service agents protecting President Biden's eldest granddaughter. grandchildren get Secret Service protection?
I didn't know that.
Anyway, Naomi Biden Neal is her name, and somebody tried to carjack the car and break into the car.
The Secret Service vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the Secret Service officers opened fire on the kids who tried to do it. And they missed.
What?
Didn't even hit them. A bullet did not hit one of these kids, not one.
Okay. No, go ahead.
And they got into a car and they drove away. And they didn't even get the license plate of the car.
Come on.
I'm like, the more and more governmental agencies, right? FBI, CIA, IRS, and now the Secret Service are so inept at what they do. How do you shoot and miss when you're a Secret Service agent?
There was such, they may have even been unwritten rules 20, 30, 40 years ago where when the Secret Service is around, you don't mess around because you'll be dead. If you try to stop their entourage as they're driving down the road, you will get run over. They don't play games, right? Now it seems, I guess they play a little games.
Yeah.
Because they didn't hit anything.
And these are guys, by the way, who will jump in front of the president and take a bullet
Right.
for the president. How many people in this country would do that for anybody? Right. Literally jump in front and get shot instead of the president. And they shot and they missed. And then they didn't even get the license plate of the car when it ran away.
Now, that amazes me because if they have some kind of a vehicle to protect them, there should be like cameras all over the place,
You'd
right?
think. Yeah. I don't know if there was or not.
Well, obviously there wasn't, or they don't want to admit it.
Right. So, anyway, I just thought it was so stupid.
Man.
So stupid. All right. As I mentioned, Ken and I are big fans of the fights, and there was a big fight going on yesterday, a whole event it was, so there was an undercard and a main event and even a ring announcer. So let's go to the ring announcer now. Ladies and gentlemen, in our undercard, hold on. I'm not a very good ring announcer, or I'd be doing it.
Let's do it again.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, in our undercard, Representative Tim Burchett and former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy.
Oh, I had the wrong button, man. That messed it up.
Should I do that again?
Yeah.
Okay. Representative Tim Burchett and former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy.
Explain to us what happened with you and Kevin McCarthy.
Well, I was doing an interview with Claudia from NPR, a lovely lady, and she was asking me a question, and at that time I got elbowed in the back, and it kind of caught me off guard because it was a clean shot to the kidneys, and I turned back, and there was Kevin, and I for a minute I was kind of, what the heck just happened? And then I chased after him. Of course, he's as I've stated many times, he's a bully with $17 million in a security detail. He's the type of guy that when you're a kid would throw a rock over the fence and run home and hide behind his mama's skirt. And he just, he from behind, that kind of stuff. That's not the way we handle things in East Tennessee. If we have a problem with somebody, I'm going to look them in the eye.
So, Tim Burchett said that Kevin McCarthy elbowed him in the kidney as he walked by. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that you can accidentally run into someone, but if you're using an elbow and you're hitting a specific area, that's probably not quite an accident.
Not for nothing, but kidney punches are illegal in boxing.
Yes, they are.
So you think McCarthy did it?
Yeah, I actually do. I do.
Let's keep in mind, Burchett voted to oust him from the position. So,
well, Burchett, he seems like a real upstanding guy, and he does play at level, like he said. In Tennessee, we don't do that kind of thing. And if it wasn't that obvious, he probably wouldn't have said something, I don't think.
You're right. A clean shot to the kidneys.
A clean shot to the kidneys, yeah. And that is painful, by the way. I have been hit.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, doing what?
Just
messing around, or?
No, it was an altercation of some kind. I think it was an accident. I think the person who did it was an accident.
You were trouble when you were a kid, weren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Huh. I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
No. So that's the undercard, Tim Burchett and Kevin McCarthy. And now the main event. In the blue corner is Brotherhood of Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien. And in the red corner, Senator Marquand Mullen. Senator Marquand, the Oklahoma Kid Mullen. We got to give him a nickname,
Yeah,
right? Boxers
oh,
always
yeah,
have
yeah.
nicknames. So
The Teamster.
I don't know what to give him.
Okay.
I'll go back to
What
the
about
Teamster. Brotherhood of Teamsters, Jimmy Hoffa's son, Sean O'Brien.
Or just call him the Teamster.
The Teamster, Sean O'Brien. And in the other corner, the red corner, Senator Marquand, Oklahoma Kid Mullen. Okay, go.
Like he's self-made. Sir, I wish you was in the truck with me when I was building my plumbing company. Myself and my wife was running the office because I sure remember working pretty hard and long hours. Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution, everybody?
No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. You're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond? Mr.
Hold it. If we can, no,
This is
I have
what
the
he
mic.
said.
I'm sorry.
This is
hold
what
it.
he said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing.
Referee for the match, Senator Bernie Sanders. So, I don't know why I love this. I shouldn't. I should hate this, but I love it.
I like where it's going. I personally, I do.
You know, the Teamsters president, think about a certain Teamsters president from the past, Ken.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jimmy Hoffa thought he could bully the mob. He thought he could bully the mafia.
Right.
It cost him his life.
Yeah.
So Sean O'Brien, who is a big guy, by the way, he's not a small guy. He's a big guy. And Mark Wayne Mullen, the Oklahoma Kid, is not really a big guy. But I think if Bernie Sanders didn't step in there, it would have been a fight. I think they would have fought.
Well, the way Mullen stood up, I think you're exactly right. And then the other guy, what was his name? What's
O'Brien.
the Teamster O'Brien? Yeah, he stood up right after he did. But you know, Vic, we talk about social media and responses on social media all the time. And I have a rule that I always give before I hit press to send on any of my posts, and it is, would you say this to this person if you're in front of them?
That's a good rule.
I think it is because, and I'm not saying that it has to be, you know, above board. It can be really down in the dirt. But if you're willing to say it, make sure you're willing to say it in front of that person. Like, for example, I always go to like things like Cori Bush. I would call her what she is,
Right.
and into her face, and so I do it online.
Yeah.
This guy, Mark Wayne Mullen, he was being, that other guy O'Brien was saying some very bad things about him.
Yeah, he sure was. And you know what, Ken? I stand up for Ken. I trust me. Whatever Ken just said right there is absolutely true. He'll say it to your face. He won't say it behind your back. Okay, so those were the fights yesterday. Let's get out of here.
That's good.
That's good stuff.
I had to do that again.
Yes, you got to have boxing bells whenever you can. You kidding me? Vice Chair of the St. Louis County Council, Mark Harder, comes by at 10:41 today. Kate Uptergrove, Managing Editor of West News Magazine and Mid-Rivers News Magazine at 10:25. So many things to talk about with Speaker Jones, like 290,000 people showing up at the Washington Mall yesterday on a Tuesday. Other stuff, too, like that code of conduct. I want to ask about that code of conduct for the Supreme Court. Bunch of crap.
Oh, yeah.
Donna Jackson from Project 21 at 9:41. And coming up next, it's the Bee or Not the Bee on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show
I honestly, every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you
on
say.
NewstalkSTL.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
NewstalkSTL.
Bring your family to the 4th annual Moolah Festival of Trees to experience a winter wonderland with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees with amazing gift packages November 19th through 26th at the Moolah Shrine. Purchase raffle tickets for just $1 for a chance to take home one or more of these creative and beautifully designed trees, including the gifts, which include toys, tools, sports items, kayaks, barbecue pits, gift cards, and even a complete HVAC system for your home. Tree values range from $500 to over $12,000. The Festival of Trees is an exciting Christmas event for all ages. You can take a souvenir photo with Santa Claus to capture a memory of the spirit of Christmas. And be sure to visit Santa's Cafe for some refreshing treats. Adult admission is $2. Kids 12 and under are free at the Moolah Shrine Center at 12545 Fifi Road. Details at moolah.org.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. We have an exciting new training opportunity available for public school and Christian school teachers. The Herzog Foundation Institute has partnered with the Bill of Rights Institute to offer 4 training events in 4 Missouri cities this year. These day-long professional development opportunities are best suited for middle and high school civics, government, U.S. history, and social studies teachers. Middle and high school teachers have a unique opportunity to strengthen civic knowledge and values for the next generation. We want to help teachers seize this opportunity.
Visit herzogfoundation.com/events to learn more and register for a Bill of Rights Institute training event near you. herzogfoundation.com/events. herzogfoundation.com/events.
This National Center for Public Policy update brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD.
.1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome to our Wednesday. Good to have you with us. We're going to talk to Tim Jones. There's so many things today. I swear to God, 2 hours sometimes is not enough to get through all the stuff that, first of all, Ken just loads me up with stuff because he's mean and he's a slave driver. Get all the stuff in the show. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of working at the post office when you're casing your route in the morning and the supervisor's going, all this mail has to go. Let's go. Get it all out there. Ken says, get all this stuff into the show. So Tim Jones is going to join us at 10:05. I want to talk to him about so many things. I hope we can fit it all in, is my point. The rally yesterday for Israel, the code of conduct for the Supreme Court. Come on, really? Kate Uptergrove from West News Magazine and Mid Rivers News Magazine at 10:25. Mark Harder. So Mark Harder is the vice chair of the St. Louis County Council. He invited Ken and I to the new 911. It's relatively new, but it's been there a little bit. And we watched and toured the 911 emergency center, and it's quite amazing. And Mark said, tell people on the radio that it's a good paying job. It's a job that'll keep you on your toes all the time. I mean, think about it. 911, what's your emergency? I always joke in our house, it'll be like 911, what's your emergency? We're out of coffee. Okay, we'll send somebody right over. But this is real 911 operator stuff, and they got some applicants, and they hired some people, and I think that's great. First of all, we got some people some jobs. The 911 office is not so strained right now, and they have people to do the job, so that's great. At 9:41, Donna Jackson from Project 21. Electric cars, the green movement from the Biden administration, and of course AOC telling us the world's going to end if we don't follow the green movement, whatever. So that's what we'll talk to Donna about. Are we ready?
We're ready.
We have our contestant.
Yes, we do.
Is our contestant Italian?
Yes, he is.
Thought so. Then it's time for the bee or not the bee.
Bzzz. How's that? Is that good? Is that bee enough for you?
The bee or not the bee.
Fantastic. Jim Modglin. Okay, our contestant today rose up through the ranks of the Colombo crime family to capo regime. Oh, no, wait, that's not him. That's our boss. That's our boss. Our brand manager, Tony Colombo. Good morning. How are you?
Hello?
What is his deal?
I don't know.
Did you hear him when you talked to him on the phone?
Yeah.
He said he was ready to go?
Yeah. I'm going to call him back. I'm just going to call him back.
Who's this person? Maybe they want to play. Here. Hi, welcome to News Talk STL. Who's this?
Are the phones not working?
I don't know, Ken. One more minute, and you're going to be our contestant.
Yeah, okay. I'll do it.
I don't understand. And if this is going to be happening all day, that means all our guests won't be able to hear us talk, which is great. That's just great. So, listen, we have a podcast of this show. Try not to podcast this segment, but the rest of the show is going to be great. And you can hear us do the show anytime you want at your leisure. If you just download the podcast, it will automatically subscribe to the station, and it will automatically go right to your phone, and you'll be ready to go, and you'll be able to hear our podcast wherever you are. Tony Colombo?
Can you hear me this time?
I can hear you this time.
All right.
So was I not accurate when I said you rose your way up through the Colombo crime family to cop?
Yeah, no, you were accurate on both both
perfect.
counts. Yeah,
Perfect. All right, so it's the bee or not the bee. What we're going to do, Tony, is give you 5 headlines. You have to tell us if it's an actual real headline or if it's a headline from the Babylon Bee. Are you ready to play?
I'm so ready.
Headline number 1. Helicopters make crocodiles horny.
All right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Is that the bee or not the bee?
That's all I get. It's just the headline. Huh?
That's the whole headline. Yeah. What do you want? The whole story? Then you'd know.
I didn't know if there was sometimes there's a sub headline.
By the way,
more details.
By the way, thanks for listening. We do this every Wednesday. Appreciate you listening to the show. It's great.
Paul used to give you a little bit more. That is going to be. That's a true story.
Okay, your response is either the bee or not the bee.
Not the bee.
That is not the bee. You are correct. You got one right. My God, can't you just play the game here and not compare me with the great Paul Kurtman? I don't think that's fair at all. Okay, headline number 2. Gavin Newsom hatches a plan to burn all the freeways down so no people can leave California.
Not the bee.
That is the bee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, Lord. Okay, yeah. Duh. All right. That was my fault.
Are you sure you know how to play this game? Are you sure
I
you have
do.
ever listened to the show before?
I just got overexcited. I'm on the Vic Porcelli Show, and I'm I'm sweating and all that.
So Highway 10 in California, Los Angeles, is one of the most used highways in the state. And there was a gigantic fire, and it's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks, so traffic's going to be even worse than it is when nothing's wrong. So he said, yeah, this is great. Let's use this so nobody can leave the state.
Yeah.
Okay. Another Gavin Newsom headline, Tony. Your headline is, Gavin Newsom says homeless camp pallet fire, which was the cause of the Highway 10 fire, caused by climate change.
That is not the bee.
That is the bee.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That sounded real to me. That sounded like that was real.
Can I tell you something? That is the beauty of this game and the genius of Paul Kurtman.
Yeah.
It really is.
True.
Okay.
True. Does that not sound real to you, though?
It
that
totally
sounds
real.
Yeah.
Totally sounds real. All right, your next...
so right now, just so both of you gentlemen know that, Tony, you're down by 1.
Yeah, you're down by 1.
I know.
2 wrong, 1 right.
I screwed that second one up.
That's
so
okay.
That was my fault.
So your next headline. woman shocked to find out that her husband cheated on her with her mother.
Well, that sounds like could very much be a real headline. That's not the B.
That is not the B. You're correct.
That sounds like a Florida man story.
Yeah.
Florida woman shocked to find out her husband had an affair with her mom. All right, so now this is you have 2 right, 2 wrong. If you get this one right, you win, and you win this non-materialistic lounge suite. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands already line up for Black Friday after grocery store offers prices from when Trump was president.
That is the B.
That is the B. And Tony Colombo is a winner. You got some crowd noise for Tony? You got some crowd applause for Tony? Well done. So now what do we got to do? We got to clean your office, or what do we got to do since you won and we lost?
No, you can tell me move my stuff whenever we go.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Oh, man, guys, what a great time. I love being here. Thank you so much, and I hope to be back soon.
We'll see. if you're good to us, and if you tell me you like my impressions once in a while, just once in a while, maybe we'll let you back on.
I do like them. They're just not as good as you think they are.
Oh, my God. I'm going to strangle him. Can you get in trouble for strangling your boss?
Oh, yeah.
You can? Okay.
Yeah, you could.
If they can fight in the Senate, I don't know why we can't fight here in the radio station. Right. You're a senator. You are a senator.
Oh, what an amazing piece of sound and video that was. Bernie Sanders wearing out that gavel. Hilarious.
You know what, Tony? Have you ever seen videos of other countries when a literal melee breaks out on the floor?
Oh, yeah.
That's going to happen. I swear to God, that is going to happen one day in America. And Bernie's going to go, stop it.
You're
a senator.
You are senators.
Yeah, they want to fight. He keeps on saying, if you want to ask a question about energy,
right.
If you want to ask a question about energy, go ahead. It's like, Bernie, they're not going to talk. They're not going to talk about energy, Bernie. I think everybody's realizing that, except you.
And then at the very end was great when the Teamster guy said, "Can I respond?" No, you can't. That quick. Shut up. No, you can't. All right,
you have time. You have the microphone. Do you have a question about energy?
So funny. All right, Colombo and Katie, what's going on? Anything we need to know about?
Close to the cabinet today, which is always a lot of fun. Plus, we'll talk to the Insider's Insider, Rodney Boyd. It'll be a great show. Yep.
He is good. All right, Tony, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Right.
Have a great
Tony.
day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Tony Colombo planning his next trip to Disney as we speak. That's why he wasn't there when we first went to him.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, I guess that's it. Let's get out of here.
Okay.
Coming up next.
The B or not the B.
How's that? Is that good? Is that B enough for you?
That was great. Oh, God. Ken, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm still new at this.
We're still getting used to it.
10 years from now, I'm going to say, hey, I'm new.
We got it down. We got it down.
Not yet. My bad. Okay. And you know what? Now that I think about it, yesterday on That's Crap, I didn't say that's all the time we have for That's Crap. And don't forget to have your pet spayed or neutered thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm just a failure left and right here this week. Okay, Donna Jackson, she's from Project 21 in the National Center for Public Policy Research. She says, and I believe her, that electric cars are failing individuals and families, low-income families especially, and she'll tell us about that when we get back. I like this. On 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, love is like oxygen. The more you get, no, it's not right. Forget it.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. You're listening to The Vic Porcelli Show.
The name's Francis Sawyer, but everybody calls me Psycho. Any of you guys call me Francis, and I'll kill you. And I don't like nobody touching my stuff. So just keep your meat hooks off. If I catch any of you guys in my stuff, I'll kill you.
On News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Wednesday, State Senator Bill Eigel, candidate for governor, with a big announcement at 4:25. Chris's Corner, the Speaker's stump speech, and Joey V on the Wheels of Steel.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Just mention the Columbo special when you book a cleaning in November, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 plus $50 off an air duct cleaning. We trust Zero Res because they're simply the best when it comes to cleaning any surface in your home, and they stand behind every cleaning with their gotta love it guarantee. Just remember to mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Columbo and Katie.
Dr. Bob Onder.
I think there are different lessons to be taken away from each race. I would say about political campaigns, it's important to remember, although it would seem sometimes the times are with you, the issues are with you, the state of affairs are with you. Sometimes winning elections is about simple blocking and tackling, fundraising, getting out the vote.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
I'm always glad to have new sponsors, but I have turned some down. See, I only endorse clients if I believe in them. And I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. Through those years, listeners said they went with John Beal because they trusted me. And just recently, a woman named Mary wrote, "We got a John Beal roof based on your recommendation." Thank you, Mary, and all the others for calling John Beal. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This Saturday night at 10 on Stories of New Americans.
I'm joined by Nasia Meyer from Croatia. Was your childhood generally happy then in Croatia, Yugoslavia?
Yes, it was really wonderful living by the sea with grandparents in the same building and other relatives, and being able to walk to the sea and the mountains.
Stories of New Americans, Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
The 2024 race is just getting started.
I think you can anticipate additional weapons to go to Ukraine as they continue this counteroffensive and to defend against Russian attacks.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Whoosh. Hi, it's Dr. Ben Carson, and you're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
Thank you, Ben Carson, very much. All right, before we get moving here, we've just been told that 18th Street, right at Union Station, apparently the traffic lights are red and green at the same time.
Okay.
So take your pick.
So people are taking a pick.
But think about how people just, I mean, you've seen videos, the ones that go right by Crown Candy.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even slow down at the stop sign. They just go. So if somebody who does that sees a red and green, I'm going to go with green.
I'm going to go with the green
I'm going
light.
to floor it.
Sure.
So please be careful here. The good news is the crossway is just the driveway coming out of Union Station and then whatever that office building is over there. But just be careful.
Yeah.
Okay? Just because it's red and green doesn't mean it's green. Matter of fact, you should probably say yellow in your head.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Not that green and red make yellow. I don't want to hear it. I'm just saying it's in the middle.
I got you.
Caution.
Yeah.
Right?
Amber.
All right, let's get our next guest going. We absolutely love her to death. From the National Center for Public Policy Research and Project 21, it's Donna Jackson. Donna, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be on with you.
We love you. Can you officially welcome Donna to the show?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, Donna Jackson?
I love it.
All right, so once again, the Biden administration failing again. And failing not just in a financial way, but in a financial way for low-income individuals and families. Electric cars are killing families financially. Am I right?
Absolutely. You know, take everything in account of what's going on right now. A lot of people probably haven't heard about the subprime auto loan industry, but actually Default rates are at a 30-year high.
Wow.
That means that as we speak, there are record numbers of people who are getting their cars repossessed.
Yeah.
So what you have is an administration who has multiple agencies going after gas-powered vehicles. That's forcing the price of cars to go up. And most people have to have a car, especially families, because when you see those job numbers and they talk about how there's a strong economy because we added so many jobs, what they don't tell you is that those are second and third jobs that average people are taking on.
Yep.
Most people are working 2-3 jobs. If you take away a car, a gas-powered vehicle that's affordable to most people, that they can't go from door to door to work 2 jobs. And then they're excluded from the gig economy. You know, everybody's using Uber Eats, everybody's using ride shares, all of these types of ways that people can make extra income.
Mm-hmm.
And so now what you have is this push for unaffordability for cars. And actually the whole agenda is to make sure people can't own cars.
Yep. Now, before I start completely bashing electric cars with you, Donna, just correct me if I'm wrong here. I believe the subprime mortgage situation in 2008 caused the recession, didn't it?
It absolutely did. And we're heading that same way.
Yep.
So what you're going to do is take people away from being able to own a car. You know, people who have less than perfect credit, which, you know, in today's economy is a large portion of the population,
Mm-hmm.
those car loans are anywhere from 12 to 21%.
Man alive.
21%. I mean, that's a huge amount. I mean, in these electric vehicles, the average loan payment, monthly payment, minimum $800 to $1,000 a month.
Now, how can a low-income family afford that?
They can't. They can't. And that whole goal is to push people into public transportation. Okay, tell me, how can you get from one job to another? How can you even take your kids to the doctor's office or get food in a lot of urban areas where all of the grocery stores are leaving? And so now you can't shop for food. You can't take your kids to after-school programs. You can't take them to the doctor. I mean, people are going to be confined to a less than 10-mile radius to be able to do anything in their community. And for a lot of communities, that means there's nothing there. I mean, you're talking about a drastic reduction in the standard of living for a lot of families. And you know what? It's not just low-income people. There are people with college degrees that are also working these second and third jobs to make ends meet because of the monetary policies of the Biden administration that has caused record inflation. I mean, nothing's going down.
Think about the sacrifices people are making without an $800 car payment, right? Are we going to buy food today? Are we going to, get our medicine today? Are we going to, pay the rent today? So if you jack up an auto payment to $800 to $1,000 a day, what more can a family sacrifice to be able just to live?
Oh my God! I mean, they can't, and that's just the car payment. That doesn't include insurance. That doesn't include license and taxes on fees on the vehicle. Doesn't include any kind of repairs and maintenance you have to do. I mean, you're going to go bankrupt just from being able to own a vehicle. You know, the middle class and suburbs and the hospitality industry was created because Henry Ford created the Model T, a car for everybody. Now we're going in exactly the opposite direction. Because let's remember, before mass production, only wealthy people could afford vehicles. The automobile was created 50 years before Henry Ford came on the scene. But it was at mass production where everybody could afford, even the workers could afford a vehicle, that changed our economy and the way we live today, and we're going in exactly the opposite direction.
And Donna and Vic, they're still trying to put this lipstick on this Bidenomics pig on the Today Show, for example, this morning. They were saying, well, yes, inflation is going up and prices are still going up, but they're not going up nearly as fast as they were.
Oh, my God. But they're at record highs. I mean, listen, there are people who used to have, in some modest areas, would have rent for like $400 a month, if you can believe this. Those places now have $1,600 a month rental fees. So they're not going down to $400. They're not going back to that. They're just not going up to $2,200.
Right.
They're going up to $1,800. They're already too high, and that's the problem. It's not like anybody is lowering the prices that we already had to endure. Everything is just going up at a lower rate, but it's already too high for most people to afford. And most people are afraid to speak out about it. I mean, I see people on social media crying that are they the only one that can afford, to be able to buy food. And these are not people that are working at Walmart. These are teachers. These are people who have college degrees that are crying and asking for help. But you know what? They don't want you to know that. They keep telling us that Biden is not messaging his Bidenomics well enough for people to understand that they're doing well. No, people understand when they're not doing well because they can just open up their refrigerator and see, you know what? I don't have any food in here, and I'm gonna have to eat top ramen today.
Yeah. So let's talk about the electric car itself. Kamala Harris, remember when she was like, I love these yellow school buses, these electric school buses. Aren't they pretty? Aren't they great? Yeah, they're on fire, right?
Yeah.
There's buses that have just burned to a skeleton because of the nature of an electric car. And here's the one safety thing, Donna, that I never hear anybody talk about. When you drive an electric car, it doesn't make any noise, right? So if you're crossing the street and the driver's not really paying attention, you can't even hear it coming. It's going to hit you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so much danger in these cars. Even if there's no charging stations available in urban areas, so where are you going to charge it? I mean, the batteries are hazardous in cold weather. Even if you don't drive your car, the battery will still drain.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter if you're driving it or not; it's still going to drain. That doesn't happen with gas-powered cars. You can't have it in certain heat. I mean, there's so many hazards with this car. Long range, being able to drive for long ranges. It's not accurate in being able to tell you when the charge is going to run out. It's so many problems with this. And, we're sitting here, and this is the thing that I hate. These automakers are going along with the agenda, knowing that nobody wants the car and that the infrastructure doesn't exist. We shouldn't be making them rich with corporate welfare for producing a product that nobody wants. I'm sorry. Wrong direction. I'm sorry.
No. You're my guest. Ken just told me that the Proterra company that made the electric buses went out of business. They went bankrupt and went out of business. So what, are we supposed to go bankrupt for buying these cars and have them explode? And you know what else nobody's answered for me, Donna? What about charging your car in the rain? What could possibly go wrong there?
Oh, my God. It's so many things. And then the other thing, you know what? The other thing is that these electric vehicles have these enhancements in it so that the government can turn off your vehicle anytime they want. That's another thing that bothers me. The fact that they're pushing everything in your household, including your vehicle, to be electrified so that the electric companies can have a monopoly and charge you whatever they want.
Wow.
I mean, that can't be a bad thing. It's absolutely going to be the worst thing because they'll charge you so much money that you can't afford to even charge your vehicle. Yep. At least people right now, I don't like to say it, But
Say it.
people right now have the option that they have a gas-powered car and they can leave if they can't afford their electricity to be on.
Right.
And that happens a lot today, where people are staying over other people's homes because they can't afford to honestly maintain their own home. But
Donna,
that's not going to be an option anymore.
And Donna, I think that should scare everyone everywhere about this electric thing, because they want to monitor your thermostat, your electric stove. They want to, I mean, everything that's in your house that they want to turn into electric, they can turn off if they want to, because everything's smart these days. And when you add the mix of a car that they can turn off if they don't want you driving somewhere, and then digitizing the monetary system, when they do that it's all over then.
That's the scariest thing to me. I mean, putting all your eggs in one basket is always a bad thing. And that's exactly what they're asking us to do. And what could go wrong? Everything can go wrong. And to think that the government is driving the market is actually the worst thing. I mean, these are people who, to be honest with you, are socialists, want to destroy corporations, want to depopulate the earth, and they're driving the agenda. I mean, that is, that should scare everyone, but that's exactly the direction we're going in. And I think that right now, if people don't stand up and say something, then it's going to be, we're not going to be able to stop it.
So
electric vehicles are not selling, and dealers don't want them, but the automakers are still going with the agenda.
So let's put two things together here, okay? And let me be the big conspiracy theorist here. So Nikki Haley's comments in the last couple of days, Ken, about people need to not be anonymous when they're online and you need to be verified on who you are, that would give the government, again, conspiracy theory, that would give the government the chance to see who you are, who you are registered, if you're registered as a Republican or Democrat, and then maybe turn off people's electric based on that. That's just my conspiracy theory. All right, Donna, where can we find all this great stuff that you have written about these terrible electric vehicles?
Yes, you can find them at thenationalcenter.org. We have lots of great information about that. I mean, this is a fight that every American should be in, irregardless if you can afford it or not.
And you got a social media presence?
Yes, at Jack's 301.
Perfect.
And Project 21 at Project 21.
Fantastic. Donna, always a pleasure to talk to you. Let's talk again soon, okay?
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Love it. That's Donna Jackson, and you know what? Everything she says, she's not wrong.
No,
not wrong.
not at all. And I can't imagine some of the people who can barely afford one thing or the other going through this now.
That's what I meant, I mean, right now, people, without being forced to drive electric cars, are sacrificing something. How much are they going to sacrifice, and how long can you live with sacrificing that much? Because you have to pay $800 to $1,000 a month for your car?
Yeah.
People don't pay that in rent.
No.
All right, let's check the chat box. Got some chat box music for me, Kenny
I
Williams?
think I do.
Let's do it. Tom was first in this morning. He says, good Wednesday morning, GMVH. You know what that stands for, Ken?
Good morning, Vic.
It does. David Sylvester, our great friend from Gutter Pro, says, Bernie the Useless Sanders. And for the union guy, wait, I need his full name to do this. That would be Sean the Teamster Thug O'Brien. Scotty, our favorite Navy retired Navy chief, says, good morning, gents, fellow Vic heads. Have a great day. He also adds lots of moving parts in being a 911 dispatcher. They truly are the first responders. Wow.
They really are.
Great way to put that, Scotty. You're the best. Charles Grokey, of course, says, good morning from Jeffco. Dave, thank you, man. He says, always great. Always laughing my head off. Go, Tony. Tony was pretty good contesting. Just squeaked out a win, by the way.
Yeah.
Ed Story says, I pledge allegiance to the flag, and it says, America, it's hump day. Where do we hump in this place? Nobody told me. It's been 2 years. Good morning, Vic heads. They say the economy is bad, but at least it's not diving as fast as it was. Hilarious, exactly.
Yeah.
And all meters, gas, water, and electric are smart and can be turned off at will. Oh, and
how dare you?
Oh, I'm just telling you, Greta. And whitehouse.gov is how you find more about it. All right, news, and then we're back on News Talk STL.
Whoosh.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on Newstalk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
As you know, my friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Now Mike has done it again with his My Slippers, and the folks at My Pillow are having an early Christmas slipper sale. The original My Slippers regular price is $139.98, but for a very limited time, they're offering these slippers for just $39.98. They come in a variety of sizes and colors. Use a promo code ONFIRE at MyPillow.com or call 1-800-645-1392. The My Slippers are designed to be worn indoor and out. They are made with My Pillow foam and impact gel to help prevent fatigue. Plus, they feature quality suede leather. Unlock this special offer and other savings by using the promo code ONFIRE at MyPillow.com. Once again, that number is 800-645-1392, 800-645-1392, or you can go to MyPillow.com, use a promo code ONFIRE, and get your special discount today.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is Newstalk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Union workers at General Motors appear to have voted down their tentative contract deal. The union has not posted final vote totals yet, but workers at 5 large factories who finished voting in the past few days have rejected the deal by fairly large margins. Americans cut back on retail spending in October.
The Commerce Department says retail sales declined 0.1% last month after increasing by 0.9% in September. October's decline ended 6 straight months of gains, though the decline was partly driven by falling prices for both gasoline and cars. Excluding sales of gas and autos, retail sales ticked up 0.1%.
Correspondent Jeremy House says the government today also reported that U.S. wholesale prices fell sharply last month as inflationary pressure continued to ease after a year and a half of higher interest rates. 2.5 weeks after sending tanks and ground troops into northern Gaza, Israeli forces entered a hospital today that they claim is used by Hamas. The House overwhelmingly passed a funding bill that would prevent a government shutdown later this week.
On this vote, the yeas are 336. The nays are 95.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson was forced to reach across the aisle to Democrats when some conservatives revolted against his plan.
This was a very important first step to get us to the next stage so that we can change how Washington works.
Things got heated on Capitol Hill yesterday during a congressional hearing.
You challenged me to a cage match, acting like a 12-year-old schoolyard bully.
Excuse me. Hold it. No, excuse me.
GOP Senator Markwayne Mullin got into an angry confrontation with Teamsters President Sean O'Brien before committee chairman Senator Bernie Sanders intervened. The two men traded insults, but there was no physical altercation. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, and evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. Because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word faith to 989898 and you're going to be blessed by taking action right now.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A cold front still on track to slide through St. Louis Friday morning, bringing cooler weather and just a few showers along with it. But until then, boy, a really comfortable weather pattern remains locked in with cool mornings and comfy afternoons. Today, sunshine up to 71 this afternoon, just a light wind out of the south. Tonight, clear, not quite as chilly as the last few nights, down into the lower and mid-40s. And then Thursday begins with sunshine, but clouds build in the afternoon and evening, still warm up to 69. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Welcome home. Welcome back. Hour number 2. I'm Vic Porcelli. That is the one and only Ken Williams over there. And we've got Mark Harder coming up, Vice Chair of the St. Louis County Council, with some good news about new 911 dispatchers. It's great news. Kate Uptergrove, Managing Editor of West News Magazine and Mid-Rivers News Magazine at 1025. And right now, Ken, are you ready for this?
Timmy.
Former Speaker of the House.
You just proved why you left-wing loons are so insane. Y'all ready for this?
Tim Jones.
You know, after hearing that, it's almost a letdown to hear my voice, isn't it? You just want to hear more of Tim Jones. Just talk. Speaker Jones.
I agree or disagree with you on that? What do I do?
Well, whatever you want to do. If you want to be on my good side, you disagree, of course. All right, listen.
How can you not get up and get going when you hear that intro?
Love it.
You.
Absolutely love it. Don't be better than us. You hear me? Are you listening to me? All right, so I want to start with something, Tim, because as I walked out of the studio right before the news, Joe Rush brought up a great point to me. He said, do you remember when the Russia and Ukraine thing first broke and people had Ukrainian flags outside their house,
Yeah.
Are these same people putting these...
outside their house? Ken and Vic, they put it on their freaking Twitter avatars. They wore it on their face. I mean, it was ridiculous.
So where are the Israeli flags? That's Joe's question.
Where are they?
Right.
They're on their lapels everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, thank goodness yesterday we finally I felt like yesterday was a giant palate cleansing for the nation. It was almost as if we woke up from the last. How long do you guys think we've been in a stupor as a country? Since mid 2020 or early 2020, right?
Right.
When we freaked out and didn't sit back and take a deep breath, and the government scared the bejesus out of us and told us that if we touched anything that another human being had been here, we were all going to immediately die, right?
Yeah.
That was what they were telling us. And we were like, well, wait a minute. My neighbor Christy, she just touched the thing that I touched, and she didn't die. And, my other neighbor Bill, we were hanging out last week, he's not dead. And, when we quickly started realizing all of that, we should have freaking woke up back in mid to late 2020. I get it. The early days, everyone was terrified. I was terrified. We were all terrified because we were told, right, Vic, all the horror movies we've watched over the years about viruses ravaging the planet, everything from Stephen King's The Stand back in the day to the more current ones, Hot Zone and all those, right? We've all been told that in laboratory, Hollywood told us for decades, boy, how right they were, that in laboratories around the world that these evil, horrible viruses were being made, and one day something's going to get out and it's going to kill all of humankind, right? We've been told that for decades. And so at first we were like, holy stuff, right?
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
Almost did it.
I know.
Holy bejesus, this is it.
Yep.
This is the end times, right? Half of humanity or more is not going to survive this. And then after a few months, we're like, wait a minute.
Yep, exactly.
As Fred Sanford would say, this it's not the big one, right?
Right,
This wasn't
Elizabeth.
the big one.
Right.
It was nowhere near the big one. We should have woken up with this. So, okay, fast forward to yesterday. So that was what? That was 2020, right? So almost 4 years later, we finally have a bipartisan, multi-partisan, massive march on the National Mall. Not even the corrupt, corporate, defunct, broken, god-awful national media could hide the fact that tens and tens and tens of thousands of people woke up yesterday, went to the National Mall, drove there from all over the country, and said, there is good and there is evil in the world.
Yeah.
And sometimes, not always, but sometimes it's really easy to see what the good side is and what the evil side is. And in the situation of Israel versus Hamas, which is really Iran, the good people are freaking Israel and the bad people are Hamas.
Yep.
And everybody finally realized that yesterday. You even had Hakeem Jeffries, of all people, who's one of the most ridiculous left-wing lunatics out there, saying in front of everyone, in front of the world, Hakeem Jeffries said, we stand with Israel. We're always going to stand with Israel. We're going to forever stand with Israel, and anti-Semitism needs to stop. So if the lunatics don't want to listen to Vic and Ken and Tim, then they can listen to their guy, Hakeem Jeffries, because he said the same thing. I hope that feeling from yesterday lasts. It was like we all got a giant knock on the head, and we woke up out of amnesia and realized there is right and wrong and good and evil in the world, and everything the left and the corporate media have been telling us for the last many years has all been a lie.
Okay.
Sorry.
Are you kidding me? We love it. That's why we have you on. But I have a lot to fit in here before the next question. So one thing is Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said it's light versus darkness. I thought that was a great way that he worded all that. So I just want to throw that in.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the estimates yesterday, Tim, were 290,000 people there on a Tuesday. Can you imagine if that was on Sunday?
That has got to be. You know that if this had been for the now bankrupt grifting organization that a bunch of idiots gave money to, BLM Inc., or if this had been for Antifa, or if this had been for We Hate Donald Trump Incorporated, the media would have been reporting on this yesterday, today, tomorrow, into the weekend, would have been the subject of all the Sunday talk shows. But that is amazing. Yeah. That is amazing, Vic. Nearly 300,000 people showed up on a Tuesday morning to say, look, you don't have to love the Israelis. Yes, I know some people love to just crap all over Israel and the Jewish people, but how about just waking up and realizing there are two sides on this? And Israel is in the middle of a morass of the Middle East, where every single person, it's like those old cartoons, the Bugs Bunny cartoons, where all of a sudden the guns pop up from all directions that are pointing at him. That's Israel every single day.
Yeah.
And furthermore, all these people on these college campuses who are, the Palestinian people, wah, wah, wah. How come all of the other Muslim and Arabic and Mideast nations around them, how come none of them want the Palestinians either? The problem here is, to me, it's not the Israelis. They've got their country. They're not asking for help. They're not asking for anything from anybody from their neighbors other than just stop shooting at them and leave them alone. Apparently, though, nobody wants the frickin' Palestinians. Right. So why aren't we asking that question?
So listen, this is going to, if you haven't heard this already, it's going to blow you away. Ken, it's going to blow you away as well if you haven't heard this. But you just said, it was bipartisan. Even Hakeem Jeffries getting up there yesterday and saying we stand with Israel. Well, it just came out this morning. Are you ready for this, guys? Rashida Tlaib is part of a secret social media group that praises Hamas and mocks Israeli hostages. Now, that's going past censure for me. That goes to getting her out of the House of Representatives.
Yeah, I mean, do we not – when are we going to start returning to recognizing the truth that with all of our warts and all of our problems and all of our failings over the many generations that this country has been in existence, we are still the most freest, most prosperous, most generous country on the planet. You can come here, and because of our Constitution and Bill of Rights, you can literally stand in any town or city square you want to, and you can drop expletive after expletive about the ruling classes. And guess what? Some people may think you're crazy. Other people may agree with you. Other people may not. But you have the right to do that. If you were to do that today in Tiananmen Square, and I'm about to move to China here because I think it's disgusting what's going on in San Francisco right now. If you were to do that in Tiananmen Square, you would disappear in a heartbeat, never to be seen from again. In San Francisco today, it looks like the conquering heroes are coming into the Roman Colosseum. It reminds me, guys, of that scene from Gladiator where Joaquin Phoenix, right, who played the Roman emperor who killed his father, Marcus Aurelius, right? But nobody knows that, right? So the father dies. The great Marcus Aurelius dies, and his son comes back to take all the glory from him. But people don't know what's actually really happened. They're honoring and they're bowing and they're prostrating and they're celebrating the wrong person, just like they're doing in San Francisco. You've got Chairman Xi and you've got Commie Red all over. They cleaned up the streets for him. They put away the homeless, God knows where. Everything looks spotless and shining. You can't find an American flag out there because Joe Biden bent the knee to the Commie Chinese long ago, and they're trying to conquer our country without firing a shot. And this administration is doing a heck of a great job in helping them along the way.
Well, you're absolutely right. All right, let's change gears here just a little bit. Tim, you've been involved in politics for so long. I mean, I don't know if I could find a better expert on politics than you. Me, on the other hand, I'm still learning all this stuff, and I have never in my life heard of a code of conduct for the United States Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. I haven't either. So not only have I've been involved in politics, but I also am an attorney and a member of the bar in good standing, despite my friends tease me and say I'm a has-been speaker and a has-been attorney. So, if you don't have friends, who needs enemies when you have friends like that? But no, I'm just teasing. So to keep my licenses, which I have in New York, where I went to school, and in Missouri, I have to complete. Even though I'm not practicing actively, I'm very proud of all the work and time and treasure and toil, especially all the sacrifice my parents did for me in helping me through college and law school and all that. And so I have to keep those licenses up, and I have to take ethics. I have to take continuing education credit hours every year. I have to take a class or two or do something, and part of that is your ethics and all that. And I always look at all the, you always have to take a few hours of ethics, and sometimes the topics are, the lawyer's code of ethics and the judicial code of ethics. My point on all this is there's already a code of ethics for every lawyer in the land. Guess what? Supreme Court justices are lawyers. They are attorneys. And on top of that, on top of the code of ethics that governs every lawyer in every state, so there's a national code of ethics that the American Bar Association, some of the bar associations publish. Every state has their own ethics. There are books written about this. There is a judicial canon. It's called the canon of ethics, I guess, to make it sound more important. So there's a judicial canon of ethics. So we already have all these things. It's kind of guys like let's pass more gun laws because the guns are out killing all these people every day in the streets of St. Louis. Well, what about it's already, we didn't need a single law other than God's law to tell us back in the day that it's illegal, unlawful, immoral, unethical to kill another human being. Okay, so we passed a law that says, okay, you shouldn't murder people, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we've already got all these laws on the books that say it's not right, it's wrong, it's illegal, it's horrible to murder people, whether it's with a gun or with your fists, right? So let's pass more gun laws. So why are we passing more, quote, Supreme Court ethics laws when there's already plenty of systems and standards in there? They're doing this. They're doing this to bait, to trap, to entrap people that they don't like on the Supreme Court. The liberals, the hoity-toity, elitist, suburban, white limousine liberals in this land hate that a guy named Justice Clarence Thomas ever got on the Supreme Court. And they really hate the fact that not only did he get on the Supreme Court, that he's one of the most brilliant jurists to ever walk the planet. He is up there with the giants who have served on the Supreme Court. He's up there with the best justices that our nation has ever produced. And they can't stand it because he destroys their narrative by his very existence. He is a black man who happens to be a conservative. And that's why they must try to continue to destroy him.
Right. Okay. The stories we hear in Missouri, okay, we have a super majority of the Republicans in Missouri. We can't get anything done in Missouri. We can't get anything done. And they couldn't get it together to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas. So what next with that, with the border? Because he thinks the border's doing great. He inherited a broken immigration system because they didn't let enough illegals in the country, I guess. But can't we even get it together to impeach an idiot?
You would think so. You would think that would be a layup. But everybody these days wants to play politics. Everybody wants to watch their backside instead of doing the right thing. Did you know that you were going to force me to go get some blood pressure medication, which I don't take after this segment today?
I'm sorry.
So don't get me started on these two topics. So here in the state of Missouri, and this is a long conversation you and I definitely should have on the air someday.
Okay.
Because here in the state of Missouri, we're entering the third decade of Republican rule. Unfortunately, the Republican supermajority in Missouri in the House and Senate has gotten fat, happy, lazy, and is governed by a bunch of rhino moderates who govern as center-left liberals.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yep.
They are run by a consultant class, which is extremely moderate, which wants to bow before the special interests. We have consultants, guys, in Jefferson City who are triple-dipping between working for the House and Senate campaign caucuses. They are lobbying, so they have lobby clients, and then they turn around and run campaigns for their friends, for the moderate people that they like, and then they throw the conservatives under the bus.
Wow.
So that's what's going on in Missouri. It's seedy, it's disgusting, but it's going on behind the scenes. It's why the conservatives are having such a tough time in Jefferson City, because there aren't enough of them. There's a lot. It is not a cliche. It's not just a funny acronym. There are a ton. There are a boatload of Republicans in name only in both the House and the Senate. Most of them are at the highest levels of leadership, and they have consultants who are also lobbyists who are doing everything they can to keep them in power. To the U.S. House, this is the third or fourth time now where we've had 5 to 8 Republicans vote with the Democrats to crush something that should be a conservative. Forget about conservative. Should be a Republican priority. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't impeaching Alejandro Mayorkas for completely destroying the national sovereignty of the United States of America be something that would be a Republican priority, right? Oh. You would think that would be. But guess what happened, guys? Guess what happened? The Democrats, who always vote in lockstep, Vic, as you always point out, boy, they know how to circle the wagons. You had a unanimous contingent of Democrats vote with 8 Republicans to stop the impeachment of Mayorkas. Guess what? Guess what, Vic? That means the Democrats are running the U.S. House.
Yeah.
The Democrats are running the U.S. House, not the Republican majority.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Speaker Tim Jones and Chris Arps every day at 4 o'clock. Anything you'd like to talk about that's going to be on the show today, or?
We are going to have Missouri State Senator Bill Eigel on, who's a candidate for governor. He's got a big announcement today, and we're also probably going to be talking to somebody from the Heritage Foundation about this abomination going out in San Francisco. And Vic, my parents, Dr. Bill and Joanne Jones, wanted me to tell you they love listening to you and Ken every single morning because you make them smile and you make them smarter.
Well, to your father, say thank you. To your mother, say grazie.
I definitely will.
Okay.
I will indeed.
Tim, love you, man. Talk to you next week. Thank you so much.
Love you guys, too. Whoosh, my brothers.
Whoosh, my speaker. Whoosh, my speaker.
I knew he'd do that.
He always does. He's awesome. Okay. He's right about everything he said.
Yeah, everything.
And Rashida Tlaib should be taken out back and beaten.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know politically she needs to be. She should not be representing any Americans at all.
Clearly, she wants from the river to the sea.
That's what you want.
So
yes.
get rid of her.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to Kate Uptergrove. She's the managing editor of West News Magazine and Mid-Rivers News Magazine on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Now, even as we evolve our institutions and drive creative new partnerships, let me be clear. Certain principles of our international system are sacrosanct.
On Newstalk STL.
Thanks for being clear, Mr. President. That's just great. So, I'm not trying to be an alarmist here, but Christopher Wray is in front of some committee today. I didn't realize he was speaking, and I apologize for that. But he said that ISIS is probably planning an attack on the United States because of this Israeli-Hamas war.
And conveniently, 10 to 20 million people have been crossing the border illegally, including people from that area, that region.
Any of the people who have crossed the border could be Hamas,
getting ready,
Hezbollah, ISIS,
sleeper cells,
Al-Qaeda, sleeper cells, whatever. So, good time to get a firearm to protect yourself, to protect your family. Okay, you're sitting there watching TV with the wife and the new puppy, and all of a sudden you hear somebody banging on your front door like they want to try to get in. Well, what are you going to do about that? Call 911. 911 is minutes away. Your firearm can be seconds away, right? And you can protect your family, protect your property, and protect yourself. So get your firearm at Southern Armory. You know, the folks over there, Aaron Tarlow, Jessica, the guys that you hear that work there that do the Pledge of Allegiance for us from time to time, they know their stuff, okay? They know how to lead you into your firearm purchase, depending upon if you're a champion competitive shooter or if this is your very first firearm. They will take care of you, teach you safety lessons if you're a new firearm owner, and that's the most important thing, is safety. Also, thinking ahead, Southern Armory has Wise food buckets with a 25-year shelf life. You never know. It's better to just have it. They're at about a mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road. SouthernArmory.com. That's SouthernArmory.com.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Hi, it's Todd Showalter along with my buddy Joey V from The Right Mind Show. Say hi, Joey.
No thanks.
Join us every Saturday at 5 p.m. when we put the fun in our dysfunctional world. Want to add anything, Joey?
Oh, no thank you.
Plus, exciting guest and King Kirby from DiscountCoffee.com. Take us out, Joey.
Get Jim Modulin to do it.
Putting the fun in our dysfunctional world. It's The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter. Saturday afternoons at 5 on Newstalk STL.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. I'm not ready for it to be Christmas. I'm still coming to terms with it being November. But if you're out and about shopping anywhere at this point, you'll be reminded in any direction you look that Christmas is right around the corner. So it was that the Beau and I found ourselves wandering through stores on Main Street in St. Charles Sunday afternoon, browsing Christmassy items and listening to piped-in Christmas music. In one set of shops, a song caught my attention. Rather than a Christmas carol, it sounded to me like another song I'd heard recently while attending a rally for Israel. I double-checked when I got home, and sure enough, it was the Israeli national anthem. I wondered if it might share its melody with a Christmas tune. In fact, it's remarkably similar to the Moldau, a symphonic poem by Czech composer Bedřich Smetana, which isn't actually a Christmas song, but evokes a wintry tone, so may well be considered Christmas music by some. So I don't know if the shopkeeper or their music source was playing the Moldau, or the anthem, which is called Hatikva. But in the process of looking into it, I learned the meaning of Hatikva, the hope. And I can't really think of a better way to approach this Christmas than with that.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
On the next
Larry Connor's USA.
That resolution to impeach Mayorkas failed to advance because a dozen Republicans joined the Democrats. Those Republicans have some splaining to do.
Larry Connor's USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Everything woke turns to okay? Now look here. I don't like that kind of talk. Now just stop it. It upsets me.
On News Talk STL.
Don't upset Livia.
I'm trying not
What
to.
are you doing? All right. Welcome back and home to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. The Vice Chair of the St. Louis County Council, Mark Harder, joins us at 1041 today.
What? Really?
Did I say that wrong?
Man, that's going to be great.
Did you not call the trumpeters?
I'll do it now.
Okay. We need trumpet fanfare for the Vice Chair. And good news, I feel like we helped out, Ken. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to break our arms, patting ourselves on the back. I'm just saying that now we've got 10 new 911 dispatchers, and I think that's great.
I love it.
Okay. And right now, our great friend, Kate Uptergrove, managing editor of West Newsmagazine and Mid-Rivers Newsmagazine. Kate, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm good. I hope you are too.
We're doing good, good.
Yeah.
So, with the I guess Thanksgiving, where does Thanksgiving fit into the magazines? Is that this week? Have we already missed it?
It is this week. The cover says Happy Thanksgiving, and there's a whole lot of pie on it. Don't look for recipes inside. They're not there. That's next issue.
That's next issue.
We do our recipes.
Okay, that's
but
fair
we do
enough.
say Happy Thanksgiving on the cover, and this is the annual wish book. So this is our gift guide, beginning of our gift guides. They will continue through the next 2 issues. But this is where we give you all of the listings of things to do and places to shop that are local. And it's so important to shop local and keep that money in the community. So we give you some good ideas. We give you all of the places where you can take the little ones to see Santa Claus. So it's all there in the wish book in both papers, Mid-Rivers and West News Magazine, alongside our local news.
Okay. So I know you know this show, and I know you know Ken Williams and the things he does here on the show. So you know he's going to call it the annual Whoosh Book.
Whoosh.
It's a whoosh book.
It's a whoosh book. So listen, I'm going to ask you again. We've never had, this is the 3rd year in a row we're going to try to do this. The Sugar Plum Fairy, once the Christmas stuff starts in St. Charles, what is the status of the Sugar Plum Fairy?
I don't know what her status is this year, but I'll check into it for you.
All right, great.
And see if she's going to be there this year. Of course, Jack Frost is going to be there. And all of that kicks off the day after Thanksgiving at noon is when it kicks off, and then it's every weekend through the rest of the holiday season till Christmas Eve, which conveniently falls on a Saturday this year. So it'll be every weekend. And then it'll also be on Wednesday nights. And on Wednesday nights, they typically have the naughty Christmas characters. So people like Krampus and the Grinch and Scrooge. So that's Wednesday evening. The shops stay late for local shopping. Again, we're back to that, spend local if you can this holiday season, because it's so important to not only our local retailers, but these are the folks who do things like sponsor your kids' hockey programs or soccer jerseys, or that's how this money flows back into the community. Everybody talks about use taxes online and sales taxes at local buildings, but let's be honest, the biggest contribution that these local employers make into the community is that they're local employers. They're hiring people who spend in the community, and they're also the local supporters of things like our kids' youth programs and other events. So if you can support them this Christmas, I'm not a big shopper. I shop like 3 times a year. Christmas is a big one for me, and I end up going out when I buy Christmas presents and buying more for myself, I think, than I'm buying for anybody else because I just don't get into stores the rest of the year. And so, but I do try to do it local if I can, because it's so important to give that money back into the community. So that's my little pitch on Shop Local. But you want to know about local news, and we've got a great story in West. It's not really news; it's a news feature, I guess, on a gentleman by the name of Bill Ballard. And if you've lived in Wildwood or Chesterfield area, you've probably touched up against something that Bill Ballard has touched up. And even for folks who live in St. Louis City, he did the iron work at the Fox Theater. So you've seen Bill Ballard and you didn't even know it. Read all about his life. He's an interesting guy, and he's featured in West News Magazine this time. So
okay, we're gonna keep pushing. We want to get the Sugar Plum Fairy in the studio here with us one of these years. Hopefully, this will be the year.
Well, I'll make a push for you.
Okay. I also want to. Oh,
talk
yes.
about people making pushes out in Mid Rivers. There's some stuff coming up, and it's in our Mid Rivers News Magazine that pertains to policies for restrooms and locker rooms, and the Wentzville School District, and then the Francis Howell School District. And when we went to press, so we go to press a little bit early so that we can get this printed and get it in people's mailboxes. So when we went to press, we had been told that the Board of Education would be discussing this in their upcoming November board meeting. They have decided not to do that. They are going to talk about it potentially in December. And so I just want folks to know, and that December meeting will take place after we send our last December issue to press.
Okay.
So
we're good friends.
Read the story in print, but stay up to date on it on midriversnewsmagazine.com.
We're good friends with Jane Pushkar from Francis Howell, so we'll get her on and get her take on that. And finally, Kate, we finally got to meet Mayor Mike in Manchester.
Oh, awesome! Did you do that at the breakfast?
Yes. He was great. He's a good guy. I mean, he's just a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about him.
He is. He's kind of like everybody's favorite uncle or parent, or he's just got that vibe. He's just a nice guy. You like him.
Favorite sober uncle. All right. So, Kate, how do we get the great West News Magazine and Mid Rivers News Magazines?
Well, it's as easy as logging into westnewsmagazine.com or midriversnewsmagazine.com if you're in the St. Charles area. Hit the subscribe button at the top of our bar on our main website page. Subscribe, and we will be happy to mail it to you free of charge directly to your home, to your mailbox, not to your driveway. We'll send it to you, or if you prefer, you can pick it up at your local Schnucks and Deerberg's markets in both of those municipalities or both of those communities.
Fantastic. Kate, thank you so much for being with us.
Always. Appreciate it, guys.
You bet. Kate
Bye-bye.
Uptergrove,
Kate.
managing editor at West News Magazine and Mid Rivers News Magazine. And you know what? Everybody in my house reads the West News Magazine. It's crazy. Yeah. It comes and, okay, who's got the West News Magazine? I want to see it. And Ken, maybe we can get the Sugar Plum Fairy in here.
Yeah, I think she needs to come on and just tell us, let's get things ready for Christmas.
Yeah, we want to talk her up. Because remember, she got into a little trouble there.
Well, yeah,
a couple years ago.
But now it's all legal.
That's right. You're right. She got in trouble for something that's legal, and I don't think that's fair. Okay, when we come back, we will talk to the vice chair of the St. Louis County Council. His name would be Mark Harder. He's got some good news for St. Louis County. That's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
We haven't been able to communicate it in a way that is, let me say another way. I have no idea.
On NewstalkSTL. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on NewstalkSTL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
School choice is an idea whose time has come. It's flourishing in many states, just not in Missouri. Take charter schools, a great alternative for parents whose kids may be trapped in a failing school district. But charter schools are currently only available to families in just 3 of 520 school districts: Kansas City, the city of St. Louis, and Normandy. Open enrollment allows students to enroll in a district other than the one in which they live. It's important because rural schools may not offer all the advanced classes larger districts do. Open enrollment does exist in Missouri, but participation is highly restricted. And the Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA program, needs to be expanded so many more parents of students with disabilities and low-income students can access it. Charter schools, open enrollment, ESAs. If they're good for some children, they should be good for all children. Check out our 2023 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward, at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Fox News commentary.
Americans, are you ready to shell out $500 billion to care for illegal aliens in this country? I sure as heck am not. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
To a new report released by House Homeland Security Committee Republicans, American taxpayers could be on the hook for a whopping $451 billion to care for illegals who have been let in and then released into our nation. To put that in perspective, and as noted by Congressman Jim Jordan, that number is more than the entire state budgets of California and Ohio combined. Costs incurred include health care, law enforcement, education, welfare, housing, and more. Altogether, the report estimates we are on the hook for nearly $500 billion. That's money that could be spent on better education for citizens, housing for homeless people, including our veterans, and more. A chunk of that money we are wasting on illegals could also be allocated to, I don't know, finishing the wall and securing our border so we stop the invasion and stop hemorrhaging our tax dollars. It pays to have a Biden in the White House, but only if you're a non-citizen. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
It's not personal, son. It's strictly business.
You're listening to The Vic Porcelli Show on Newstalk STL.
Welcome home to 1019 and 94.1 Newstalk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That is Ken Williams over there. Guy that takes me up back and beats me up every day when we're done with the show, which I think is really over the top, Ken.
A little bit, maybe.
A little over the top. Why don't you leave me alone? So listen, there's good news as far as, well, you know what? Can I go back and quote our friend Scotty, who knows his stuff, I think? Would you say that Scotty knows his stuff?
Oh, I think so.
He says, lots of moving parts in being a 911 dispatcher. They truly are the first responders. And guess what? We got some new ones. Let's find out. All rise as the vice chair enters the room.
From the county of St. Louis.
Crime issues, economic development.
Vice Chair, St. Louis County Council. This is Mark Harder.
I love the echo.
I love the way you hit the post even on that. You made Jim hit the post on that. All right, Mr. Vice Chair, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Ken and Vic.
Let's start with the big news. Yesterday, was that during the day or at night? Yesterday.
Yesterday was a night meeting.
So a night meeting, and just to give you a little history, Ken and I, and Mark was the one that allowed us to do this. We toured the new 911. It's not new. I'm sorry. It's new to me, so I think it's new.
It looks new. It's beautiful.
It is the 911 emergency center, and the guy who spoke at the meeting last night was the guy we talked to when we were in the war room. Remember when we were in the war
commander.
room?
Yep.
Yeah, the commander. So, and I'm sorry, this is just something that's stuck in my head. I asked him about when you pull somebody over and you have, if you're getting pulled over, should you say, I have a firearm in the car or not? He said, absolutely say it, because now I know I'm safe, the guy said.
And not only that, I asked him, I said, well, if you have a concealed carry card, he said, hand that over with your driver's license.
Yeah,
that's all you
great.
need to do.
So he was on board last night, and he spoke to the county council last night, and we kind of got a little mention out of it.
Again, thanks to the council for your support in all of these endeavors. Obviously, it's important for our community, for the safety of our community, to have men and women like this do this. Your support, Councilman Harder, I know has been instrumental. I think he was on the radio several months ago, talked about it on a radio program, and I think in the month of September, we had more applications. That was the most applications we'd had in 2023 after promoting it.
Well, he was semi-accurate there. It wasn't a radio program; it was the radio program. But
the only radio.
That's right, Mark. That's right. So that's great. So I think Ken and I feel like we've helped the community a little bit.
And Mark was instrumental in that as well,
Of
too.
course he was. Yeah.
Well, and it just shows the power of NewstalkSTL and the reach. And yes, he is correct. We had a huge amount of interest after those radio interviews we did and talked about it on multiple days. And people, I think woke up to the idea that maybe I could be a 911 dispatcher, call taker, whatever you want to be, and may I'll give it a try. And so the proof came out last night when we had 10 new hires stand before the council last night and introduce themselves as they enter training for the next 8 weeks. It was impressive to see them, young people. You have to be 21 or older, but most of these people were in between, I'd say, 20 and 30 in age group. And it was on the news last night. You can see a picture of it and see the coverage, and it's impressive to see these young folks step up and want to do a job of service and be a first responder to this community when they're in desperate need.
So you may hire even more. They may even hire more than just the 10, right?
Oh yeah. We have probably another need for another 10 easily. When we're dealing with retirements and training and being able to give time off so that we don't burn these people out. And that's been the problem, is that we've had mandatory overtime for so long that we're losing people because we're burning them out in order to cover the shifts and the times and the phones.
That's great. I mean, Ken and I were just blown away by the people there, by the equipment, by the just everything about that place was just great. So I'm happy. I'm really happy that we've got some more 911 dispatchers to man the phones. I'm sure it's more important.
So they'll enter. I think they're already in their second or third week of training. It's an 8-week training where they do both classroom and real life. Sit on the phones, answer calls. It's an 8-hour day or more, and they're going to get immersed in the whole 911 emergency culture, so that they can, when they're given the time to get out there by themselves, that they know and have the skills necessary to answer these calls on, what is probably the worst day of many people's lives, and they've got to be 100% on and ready to answer the call.
All I was going to say, Mark, we may as well take advantage of the moment and say, if somebody else is interested in becoming a dispatcher, where would they go? Who would they contact?
Well, as we did before, you can contact my office. You can ask for me and my assistant, and we'll refer you to the necessary person that can take the applications. They could go onto our website, and I believe there's some links in there for the definitely for the police department, and through hiring through the police department, they can go that direction. So there's different ways they can do to make this happen, and I encourage everybody to do that. And let's make it happen and get these people employed.
Great way to start the segment with Mark Harder this morning to get that great news. All right, Mark. So what actually? Any fireworks last night? Anything voted on? Any good news? Any bad news?
Well, the good news, as we saw, was of course, the hiring of the 911 dispatchers. Last night, we also dealt more with our budget, and we passed some of the minor budget bills last night. But one thing that we are working on, have been working on, is the funding for Bi-State, which is, of course, Metro trains, Metro buses, call-a-ride, and that whole thing. And we've identified some major problems with the call-a-ride system. And I've been working closely with a number of sheltered workshops here in St. Louis and other stakeholders in this issue. And I think we've identified 3 problem areas, one being an antiquated phone system, because with Call-a-Ride, you have to call in your reservation to be picked up like a number of days ahead. And so they're having a lot of drop calls, and people are not able to get in to the system. So we've identified that. We've identified that their scheduling system is antiquated, and so we need to change that. And they need to have more, hire a consultant to advise them on ADA issues when it comes to people with disabilities and how to treat them and to accommodate people in the ADA community. So we've identified those 3 areas. And what I've been doing is working with Tolby Roach, who's the head of Bi-State, and tell him that, hey, if we're going to give you this money to fund you for the next year, we want to see this money, portion of this money, being used to address these problems. And that's what we tried to work on, and it was brought out last night. Unfortunately, one of my colleagues on the council felt that I was maybe overstepping my bounds, but I don't care. We got to solve this problem and move forward. And I was able to get 6 out of 7 votes in favor of this plan. So, it's about results. It's about results for the people of this region. And that's what I'll always work on, and leave the politics alone.
Yep, exactly right. And you know what? I hate to sound like Mr. Biased here, but it always seems like it's, the same usual suspects who play politics before really what's the right thing to do, right?
Right. And looking at the big picture, and this person was throwing rocks at things they knew very little about, and used the time for grandstanding, and I think a lot of people saw that, those that were there and probably those that weren't there, when they saw it on the video. So it is what it is, and my dad used to always say, consider the source, and in this case, consider the source of this pushback.
All right, very quickly, let's run through a couple of things, Mark. Is Mannix dead, or are we going to bring that back up again, or what happens now with that annexation?
It's pretty much dead. Under the rules for mergers and annexations, they can't bring this issue up for another 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And so yes, that went down into defeat last Tuesday. It passed in the Manchester portion of the area, but the folks that were in the unincorporated portion that was being annexed, they voted almost exactly the opposite, and it failed. So it has to pass in both areas to be effective, and that did not happen. So everything's still status quo, and we'll see how the next 5 years plays out.
All right. My wife and I were talking about the don't play in traffic thing. Is that dead too?
That's been dead for a while, but I think, those are those kind of issues that at the time people saw it as that somehow we were targeting a certain population of people that hang around street corners and medians. But I think as this plays out, I think we're going to find that over time that it is a dangerous place to be. And whether you're out there begging for money to live on, or you're begging for money for a charity, or whatever you're doing, hanging out on a median in the middle of a busy intersection is not a good place to be. And I'm hoping that people will start to wake up to that issue, that this is not a good place for your daughter, your son, people that are in desperate need for assistance, or charities that use that space as well. It's not a good place to be. And if you choose to do that, it's probably a better place to be on the sidewalk or on the side of the road, and not in the middle of the road or in intersections in our metropolitan area.
Right. All right. How's the Harder for Senate campaign going?
It's doing great, moving forward. Had a great fundraiser last week, and we're still following up on that. And, we're still working through a number of issues, getting the word out, talking to people, knocking a few doors, and making sure that people know that what the issues are, and that I've got some of the answers. Don't have all the answers, but I've got some of the answers that people are looking for when it comes to affecting their the state legislature. So I hope everybody can talk about that, and we keep talking about issues and talking about solutions mostly, because that's where we're lacking right now in many parts of the states. We talk a lot, but there's not a lot of solutions out there. So we got to be focused on solutions and results.
All right, Mark. Thanks so much for being with us. Please let the commander know it's Porcelli and WILLIAMS. Okay.
That'd be great. We'll get that word out there. And, he will do a live remote from the 911.
Oh my God, I would love that.
That would be amazing.
Another broadcast I could walk to if I felt like it. All right, Mark, thanks so much. We'll talk next week or sooner if you need us, okay?
Okay, sounds great.
All rise as the vice chair leaves the room. All right, Ken. So the other day, we got a call from a guy who was a liberal. I think we can call him a liberal.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And his name was Ray. And he said, what was he saying? I mean, one of the things I remember from the conversation was that everything we've said about the laptop is not true.
Right.
Is everything we've said about the laptop true?
Absolutely been confirmed and documented.
So we started to talk, and if somebody if the liberal calls in and wants to talk, I don't want to be the typical conservative radio show.
And we won't.
Where we say, okay, now we'll give you a chance to talk, right?
Right.
And then as soon as they talk, yeah, but you're wrong.
Shut up a minute.
That's not giving them a chance to talk.
Right, no.
So we want to give them a chance to talk, but then, of course, the rules are you have to give Ken and I a chance to talk, and you can't break those rules. So he agreed to that, said he was going to research, because I asked him for some facts that he didn't have the first time he called.
And when he called, we gave him facts for our argument, but he said, "Oh, well, I didn't research yet."
Well, why are you calling? I'm sorry.
No, that's true.
I don't want to besmirch the man's
And that's
name.
okay. Call if you don't have research. That's fine. But he said, "Well, I'm going to call back tomorrow." So what we did, Vic, and I made a point to do this from the very beginning, the bookends of the show. I waited. We didn't say a word about this because I wanted to give him an opportunity to call. Well, he didn't call.
Right. So Ray, if that's your real name, give us a call, man. We'll give you the chance. It won't be, another one. Jess Piper, remember the Pay the Piper woman?
Right.
She has been on conservative radio shows where she was shouted down, didn't get a chance to say her piece.
Yeah.
Jess Piper, you want to call and talk? Give us a call. We'll let you talk. You have to let us talk, of course, and we'll have a human debate about it.
Now, you may have to put up with us playing things like Piper music and stuff, but, I mean, you'll still get your point across completely and fully.
We'll try not to do too much of that.
We won't do too much of that.
All right, Ken. I think, are we done here?
Pretty close, Vic.
Okay. Thanks to all of our guests. Speaker Tim Jones, God, I mean, he just puts everything into perspective, and you can listen to him with Chris Arps starting at 4 o'clock today, right before the Larry Connor Show. Lock and load, ready on the right.
And I want to thank everybody on the streams that were here today, too.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Thanks for being with us.
The Vic Heads.
The Vic Heads, so to speak. All right, that's it. Thanks for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
You don't have that.
Oh, thank you for having the record player on.
You have the record player on at night.
There he is. Dan Bongino's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. We'll see you tomorrow.
Do I have a place for you folks as we head into these beautiful fall weather months? Espino's Mexican Grill. You can find them 24/7 at espinosmexicanbargrill.com, and you can find them 24/7, 365 at 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road, right in the heart of Chesterfield Valley, just off of Interstate 6440. Espino's Mexican Grill, nearly 2 decades in the business. I've been going there for years. They have a fantastic menu of authentic Mexican fare, not the typical stuff you get around town, and the coldest drinks around. Did I mention the margarita patio? That's what I call it, outside. Fantastic addition that Espino's put in several years ago. Espino's is a fresh alternative to the typical stuff you get. Once you go once, you'll be back many, many times. Check them out online, espinosmexicanbargrill.com, located at 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road. Best authentic Mexican fare and best coldest drinks around in town.
Facts don't matter. Lies don't matter. You or I lie, we go to jail. She lies.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
It's just part of the business. President lies, it's part of his business. Joe Biden couldn't tell the truth if he could remember it. And then you got Hunter Biden, because he's a drug addict, because he's a gun criminal, because, posts pictures of himself with hookers and crack pipes and all that kind of stuff. Now that makes him somehow wonderful.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Hello, I am State Treasurer Vivek Malik. There is a program in my office that allows you to save for your loved one's education. The Most 529 program helps families save for K-12, college, trade or technical schools. Contributions to most 529 accounts grow tax-free and are eligible for a state tax deduction of up to $16,000. Celebrate this holiday season by giving to your child's education. Learn more at MissouriMost.org.
Sponsored by the Missouri State Treasurer's Office.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the White House is looking forward to a productive meeting today between President Biden and Chinese President Xi.
President Biden has a long history with President Xi. Their conversations are direct, they're straightforward, and President Biden believes that there is no substitute for leader-to-leader, face-to-face diplomacy to manage this complex relationship between the United States and China.
The high-stakes meeting taking place in California. Israeli forces have raided Gaza's largest hospital. Israel says Shifa is a Hamas command post nestled under civilians. The Israeli military said it was carrying out the operation against Hamas in a specified area in the hospital, adding it was separate from where patients and medical staff are located. Also at townhall.com, voting on a tentative contract agreement between General Motors and the United Auto Workers Union appears to be too close to call. As tallies at more factories were announced, workers at 5 large factories who finished voting in the past few days have turned down the 4-year and 8-month deal by fairly large margins. Voting continues at 4. The contract was passing overwhelmingly in early voting at Stellantis. Americans cut back on retail spending in October.
The Commerce Department says retail sales declined 0.1% last month after increasing by 0.9% in September. October's decline ended 6 straight months of gains, though the decline was partly driven by falling prices for both gasoline and cars. Excluding sales of gas and autos, retail sales ticked up 0.1%.
Correspondent Jeremy House reporting. The Dow is ahead 118 points, and the NASDAQ adding 26 points now. More of these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I'm Corey, and this is my story. I was going through some financial troubles paying off my credit cards. I was paying high interest rates, and it just wasn't getting any better. And I knew I had to do something. So my mom told me about Trinity, and so I decided to call. Trinity was able to do something that I couldn't. I'm paying off my debt, I'm saving thousands, and things are really looking up. I promise you guys, you will not regret it when you called Trinity, because it was such a relief and less stress in my life, and it was the best thing I could have done for myself, because once I called Trinity, they took care of me, and I felt such a relief, a weight off my shoulders. Trinity was great to work with. They wanted to help me. I love it.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
I'm Corey, and I'm debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A cold front still on track to slide through St. Louis Friday morning, bringing cooler weather and just a few showers along with it. But until then, boy, a really comfortable weather pattern remains locked in with cool mornings and comfy afternoons. Today, sunshine up to 71 this afternoon, just a light wind out of the south. Tonight, clear, not quite as chilly as the last few nights, down into the lower and mid-40s. And then Thursday begins with sunshine, but clouds build in the afternoon and evening, still warm up to 69. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Is your family prepared for the financial burden of losing a loved one?
Are you aware of the cost of a funeral?
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for lifetime permanent final expense insurance coverage with no medical exam required.
Just answer a few health questions, and once accepted, your rates never increase.
Do you have diabetes? High blood pressure?
Have you had a heart attack? A stroke?
No problem.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial can help protect your legacy.
Call or text 314-866-8886. That's 314-866-8886.
To learn more about permanent lifetime final expense insurance coverage.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for immediate coverage by answering just a few health questions.
Call or text 314-866-8886 or learn more at memorialplans.com. That's memorialplans.com.
Policies underwritten by Senior Life Insurance Company, not available in all states.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
Jim, you listen to the podcast? Crazy. You know what's interesting, folks? I'm not going to spin your wheels. When you're in the news business like we are, the talking head, whatever, content creator business, I don't care, whatever you call it, opinion making stuff. There are some days you're like, my gosh, there's just so much going on. You have to you really have to triage stuff. That's when people start yelling at me typically. How come you didn't cover this? And I'm like, honestly, because there's only 3 hours of radio. And, we got intros and outs and stuff and commercials. It's like, it was just not enough time. Today's not one of those days. It's just not. But the weirdest thing happens on my shows. And Jim, I think you'd agree. I know Guy does. Some of these days where the news cycle's light and I have to go and really kind of put together a show with things I care about and go and find it that I'll gravitate to, they turn into the best shows. I only say it because I go downstairs. I got like 5 minutes between shows. And I got to wash my face off because the podcast, they put this like stuff on so I don't shine all over the place with the lights on and everything. And I said to Paula, she's like, man, that was a great show. And I said, what's crazy is that I said to Jim last night on the voicemail I left him about the content. I'm like, man, this is going to be rough. It's like a rough news day. There's not a lot going on. But I think today's show is going to be great too because these are things I really care about. Just a programming heads up. Tomorrow I will be out in Dallas. I will be in studio. Right, Jim, I'll be with you, right? You and Mike? Like, you'll be actually there? Oh, why not? We couldn't do it? Oh, that's a shame. I'll be at WBAP, though, right? Okay. No, we can explain right now. But I will be at WBAP, one of our favorite stations in Dallas. I will be out there. I'll be doing my podcast with Steven Crowder. The podcast will air at a different time tomorrow to be live. I don't know what the hell is going to happen there. 9 a.m. Eastern. It's going to be 2 hours, 9 to 11. And the reason we have to do it at a different time is because I got to bolt from Crowder's studio in Dallas over to WBAP to do the radio show. So if I don't make it on time, Jim, you better have at least 5-10 minutes of content prepared. I'm just telling you now. Folks, Jim, I got an idea. Folks, I'm serious. Tune in to radio tomorrow because I'm not sure I'm going to make this. Jim, I think you should cover your book for a few minutes, just like cover the book. That go like just to lay out the chapter. Yeah, if that's what you do, you may just lay out the book. It'll be cool. The audience will love it. It's the guide to the Dan Bongino show. But I will get there. I'm as a 99% chance I'll be there on time. But I can't guarantee 100. So tomorrow's going to be a busy day. Don't miss radio or podcast. We'd love to have you. Rumble.com/Bongino if you want to check it out. So there's been an update on the cocaine. Isn't this crazy? Isn't this crazy? Is this so bananas that we're actually having a conversation about coke in the White House? Reminds me of The Usual Suspects. Remember Gabriel Byrne? There's no coke. I had to mumble that because if I said it, the FCC would come after us. And Jim, it's Wednesday. Is there a Wednesday asterisk? Like, there's not. Okay, there's not. I thought, yeah, still a no. So I was just playing it safe there. There's no. And in this case, it should be the opposite. Gabriel Byrne should be saying in the White House, there is coke. We're having a conversation about coke in the White House. Imagine if for the entire 4 years when they were bashing Donald Trump, the indignity of Donald Trump in the White House. Now we're having a conversation about coke in the White House. Like Diet Coke? No, like coke. You snort up your nose. This is so otherworldly. It's like not real. It's not real. This can't be real.
That mother back there is not real.
You got Tiffany in studio? How did she know? I was not, that was not planned. I don't see her in the Skype. They're hiding her in the court. It's unbelievable. I didn't know she was on Alex Stein's show the other day. I didn't know you were having her today. It's so crazy. Now the story's changing a little bit. So we were told with the cocaine in the White House, there were no fingerprints found. There was no DNA. So Jesse Waters over at Fox got a hold of some info. And now you're starting to see why I've been telling you that the story you're being told probably isn't the full story. Now is it starting to make sense? As other people kind of filter out some deets, if you know what I mean? Jesse Waters and them reached out, and all of a sudden the story appears to have changed a little bit. Take a listen to this.
But here's where it gets even more suspicious. They told us they didn't find any DNA, but the documents say they did. Remember, the Coke baggies been blown up. The Secret Service took the evidence from Quantico and they destroyed it. They didn't want the FBI to have it. But there's more evidence that they didn't destroy. An envelope with 3 tubes of DNA. Where'd they get the DNA from? They got the DNA off the baggie. So the Secret Service lied, and so did the White House. They did find DNA on the baggie, and the DNA was processed and has been moved to an evidence vault for preservation. So the Secret Service has an insurance policy.
Again, you're not wasting your time here, folks. Now, to be fair and do the right thing and not the easy thing, the Secret Service is saying that the DNA that was found is secondary DNA. Now, if you're a law enforcement officer, you know what that means. If you're not, secondary DNA would be, I'll just say there was a court case on this. And the court case, if I get a little bit of the details wrong, the major story is correct. There was this guy who was convicted, his DNA was found at the crime scene. Well, it turns out that the guy was totally innocent. The guy's DNA was brought to the crime scene by one of the first responders that responded there. That's what's known as secondary DNA, secondary to the crime. That winds up there incidentally transported in by a first responder or someone else. But I got a really big question about this you're probably thinking about too. How do they know it's secondary DNA? Right? I mean, if you have, say, in a bodega in New York, you have a homicide, and you think John Smith did it because you found his DNA, and you can prove John Smith was in Virginia that day, you've got photos of him at his desk, nowhere near the crime scene, you can be reasonably confident that that's secondary DNA. My question with this whole thing is, number one, you told us there was no DNA. Now there is. You told us there was no fingerprints. I'm almost positive there are. How do you know it's secondary DNA? Because you can call anything secondary DNA. I don't want to get too wonky, but I want you to think this through. You could say, oh, yeah, we found DNA, but it's a staffer, so it's secondary DNA. The staffer might have been walking by him, and maybe the staffer dropped off the baggie because they were dropping the baggie off for a family member. How do you know it's secondary DNA? That's the point. And then what leads me to believe this story's even weirder is they said it's secondary DNA, so the Fox team said, well, why don't you get DNA samples from the people who were there to eliminate potential suspects? And they said, well, you know, we basically would, but we need a court order. Why would you need a court order if you're sure it's secondary DNA? How do you know that? Folks, this story makes absolutely no sense. None at all. Somebody's not telling us the truth. I mean, it's really, I said yesterday, please don't do to the Secret Service what the FBI did to itself. I mean, I'm humbly and with respect asking you that. Just come clean on this thing. All right, moving on, because I got a lot to get to today. I want you to stay to the end of the show, by the way. The last segment of the show, I had a kind of tape in advance. That's why there's no calls. I had it because I got to jump on a flight. It's only like 2 minutes. But it's funny at the end, because I wasn't really sure how much time we had left. I'm like, wow, it's the first time on radio. I basically ran out of things to say. It's only like 2 minutes, but check it out. Stay for it. Stay for it. Tell me if you can detect it. My voice at the end, I was like, holy Moses. I wrapped it up too early. Hell you do now? You got to pull out your bag of tricks like a magician. Presto changeo, daddy-o. But, Jim, I'm a broadcast professional, so I figured it out, didn't I? I didn't even have, like, any cues or anything like that. So crazy. He's like, you're not supposed to tell people that? Sure you do. You tell people everything. We love you. That's why this show rates so high. Because we never BS you. Here it is. The single most horrendous idea ever broadcast from a candidate for office, I think, anywhere in the country. Let me just say in advance, I got no beef with Nikki Haley. Okay? I got no beef. If she's a Republican nominee, I'm going to support her over Joe Biden or Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris or Dean Phillips or whoever else runs. Okay? But that doesn't mean you get a pass. I'm a Trump supporter. I had an issue with the abortion thing, brought it up on the air. I'm fair to all the candidates. I've had issues with some other people, other candidates' positions. I don't like Tim Scott's stuff when he was still in the race and criminal justice reform. But Nikki Haley, she's trying to backtrack this today. This doesn't need a backtrack. This needs a full, just pull it out, root and branch, Just come clean. Just say, listen, I'm really sorry. This was a stupid idea. This is the single dumbest idea I've ever heard yet. Nikki Haley came out yesterday with basically a proposal to dox every single person on the internet and for the government to take over the algorithms. Now, as a tech investor myself, I mean, is Rumble going to fall into that too? I mean, we have a chat room in my show. Is that a blog? Are we gonna, is the McGroin family, they're real, by the way. If you go to my chat, they're hilarious. Holden McGroin, Aiken McGroin, Shaken McGroin. You're probably laughing. Jim, are these real people? Yes, they are. Yeah, I don't want to know their real names. They don't want their real names known. But Nikki Haley apparently thinks she has some entitlement to their real names. I want you to listen to this. Check this out.
When I get into office, the first thing we have to do, social media accounts, social media companies, they have to show America their algorithms. Let us see why they're pushing what they're pushing. The second thing is every person on social media should be verified by their name. That's, first of all, it's a national security threat. When you do that, all of a sudden people have to stand by what they say, and it gets rid of the Russian bots, the Iranian bots, and the Chinese bots. And then you're going to get some civility when people know their name is next to what they say. Accountability. And they know their pastor and their family member is going to see it. It's going to help our kids, and it's going to help our country.
No, Miss Haley. No, you have no entitlement whatsoever in the government to knowing people's online activity, what they're doing. It's none of your business. They're not breaking any laws. If the Holden, Shaken, and Aiken McGroin family in my chat wants to be Aiken, Shaken, and Holden, then I have no entitlement whatsoever to knowing what the hell their names are. He's just like Shaken McGroin. That's it. That's his name. They're a real group. If you doubt me, join my chat. You'll see. There's a whole crew of them. There's an entire crew of them. Shaken, Aiken. You think the government needs to know what your Twitter handle is? Who you are? What's next? Your IP address? Oh, and they need a hold of the algorithms? Guys, ladies, I'm telling you, this is the single dumbest idea I've ever heard.
I'm telling you.
Even Rachel, the Relaxium lady's telling you that. Now, in case you thought like, oh, this is a temporary slip of the tongue, she just screwed up. She needs a full retraction on this. Miss Haley, I have no ill will towards you whatsoever. If you are the nominee, I will support you. I don't support Democrats, ever. I'm giving you advice here, take it or leave it. You need to just retract the thing, apologize, and move on. Voters are very forgiving. This is a huge mistake. There was a monster backlash to this thing. Just apologize. Stop the dancing. So in case you think it was a mistake, here she was on a podcast. Double down and said it again. Take a listen.
They need to verify every single person on their outlet and I want it by name. Because when
what about Smug? Does he qualify?
I've provided them with my government.
If Smug is on your driver's license, then, and look, you can put Smug in parentheses, but I want everybody's name.
No, I know you're not entitled to everybody's name. You're a Republican. You are supposed to be a conservative. If the government is investigating a crime, it has subpoena power. It can go in front of a judge and get a warrant and get this stuff. When they base it on probable cause, you are not entitled to anybody's name or any private company's algorithm, not a company I invest in or anyone else's. You imagine Democrats weaponizing this on True Social, demanding a list of everyone's IP address and name attached to their handle? What are you, crazy? Miss Haley, I'm begging you, as an ally in the movement, just retract it. Say you screwed up. This will bury your campaign. You will lose every voter 30 and younger over this thing. There's zero doubt. Your opponents right now are using it as cannon fodder. And by the way, she just tripled down. I got more on that coming up next. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
Dr. Gorka here, and I want to talk to you for a minute about the 100% drug-free Relief Factor. We all deal with aches and pains in our day-to-day lives, and I have had my fair share, including injuries like a detached quad muscle that I can tell you fell into the category of really bad pain. But I've been able to manage the pain by taking Relief Factor. It helps your own body to attack and fight off sources of inflammation, the source of most of our aches and pains, and I've loved it for years now. Almost 70% of the more than 500,000 people who have tried Relief Factor end up ordering more. That's because it works for them the way it worked for me. Isn't it time for you to get out of pain? Your first step to becoming pain-free should be to order the 3-week quick starter pack for the discounted price of only $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com, call 800-4RELIEF to find out more about this offer. Feel the difference.
Dan Bongino.
What happens next?
Citizens of Israel, we are at war, not in an operation or in rounds, but at war.
Happens right here.
Hamas entered our communities. It was the worst nightmare ever.
250 Israelis are dead.
The next stage of this operation will be the response.
And let's make no mistake, this is an Iranian-backed assault and war.
101.9 and 94.1.
My administration's support for Israel's security is rock solid and unwavering.
News Talk STL.
Hi, Sean Long for STL Fenceworks. STL Fenceworks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. For instance, STL Fenceworks has teamed up with Jareth Manufacturing. Jareth invented the aluminum fence industry over 50 years ago. The Jareth product is wholly sourced and manufactured in the U.S., and STL Fenceworks is the third largest Jareth customer in the world. STL Fenceworks is vinyl fencing also, and not just white. We partner with National Vinyl Products to provide you with tan, clay, gray, and variegated wood grain vinyl fence products too, all made in the U.S. Not to be forgotten, STL Fenceworks is maintenance-free decking. STL Fenceworks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC in the Midwest, proudly manufactured in the U.S. and voted #1 maintenance-free decking product in the United States. Let STL Fenceworks make your outdoor space magical. Visit STLFenceworks.com today and learn how we can make your backyard dreams into a reality. At STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Columbo and Katie.
When it comes down to getting in the ballot box, Democratic voters vote for the Democrat.
Yeah.
Republican voters are typically more in tune with the policies of the candidates, not the party in general, of the candidates. And if they don't like a candidate, they won't vote for him. But you need to understand that the team that you're going against, they're going to vote for the letter no matter what.
Tony Colombo, Katie Fitzpatrick, weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
You want to give a unique gift this holiday? I suggest Stolac Whiskey, produced in Missouri. Stolac Whiskey, born of natural limestone filtered water from the Ozark Highlands, aged in Missouri oak. Stolac, so smooth. Trust me, you're going to enjoy it. So next time, ask for Stolac. Visit the website, stolock.com. Stoloc, Stowloch, from Stone Ledge Distillery.
Welcome home to St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Government just needs to step up and do its job.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Democracy is messy sometimes.
We went through several names.
From the great state of Louisiana, the Honorable Mike Johnson.
The path chosen with respect to Iran means that there's going to be chaos and war in other places in the Middle East.
The #1 threat is Hezbollah. The two-front war would be bad.
101.9 and 94.1.
We cannot give up on peace.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Tragically, every minute, unborn babies' futures are sucked out of existence. But amid the darkness, there's a light that shines, and that's Preborn. Preborn introduces mothers considering abortion to their unborn babies through ultrasound. Once she hears that heartbeat and sees that precious life, the majority of the time she'll choose life. Preborn pregnancy clinics are positioned in top abortion areas where most abortions still take place. But Preborn doesn't stop there. They love and support their mothers with maternity clothes, diapers, counseling, and so much more. This is Dan Bongino inviting you, the pro-life community, to help us fight the giants and protect the most vulnerable who can't defend themselves, unborn babies. For just $28, you can rescue a baby's life. Or $140 sponsors 5 ultrasounds, helping to save 5 babies' lives. 100% of your donation will go towards saving babies. Will you help us? Just dial pound 250 and say keyword baby. That's pound 250 keyword baby, or donate securely at preborn.com/Bongino. That's preborn.com/Bongino.
The most informative 3 hours you'll have all day. The Dan Bongino Show.
So she tripled down. Nikki Haley was on CNBC about this horrendous doxing idea, doxing people on the internet, the government demanding people's names and all this other stuff. She was just on CNBC given the opportunity to retract. And then this happened. Jim, play that cut.
We need our social media companies to verify everybody so that we can get all of those.
So you're not really
bots out.
saying that people can't tweet anonymous. I mean, but that's bad enough, because you see what it's doing to our kids and bullying and everything else.
Do I think life would be more civil if we were able to do that? Yes. It's the same reason why I think doxing, you should stand by what you say. But no, if you can have anonymous, I don't mind anonymous American people having free speech.
Okay.
What I don't like is anonymous Russians and Chinese and Iranians having.
Oh, my gosh. Just let this thing go, man. Please just let it go. Oh, now we're talking about Russians, because the idea of Russian infiltration into an American election has never. It has. Oh, it was used as an excuse to spy on Russians. Jim's like, no, it was used as an excuse to spy on Americans. The guy's name was Thump. Oh, Trump. Yes. Miss Haley, again, I'm not your enemy. I'm doing you a huge favor. Generally, in politics, apologizing is a bad thing. You will look like a statesman. Walk it back. You made a mistake. Just walk it back. It's a rough time, whatever. Blame it on you had a couple Coors Lights last. I don't know. Just retract. This is a stupid idea. It will destroy your campaign. If you're a timeshare owner, you're probably upset that your yearly dues continue to increase. With an A-plus rating at the BBB and over 900 five-star testimonials, Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. They're the only company you can trust, having helped over 18,000 owners legally and permanently get out. Call my friends today for a free, no-obligation consultation at 844-284-4864 or LoneStarTransfer.com.
Henry Repeating Arms makes rifles and shotguns that are accurate right out of the box, with performance and craftsmanship that can't be beat. And we make them here in America, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Henry's come in a wide variety of calibers and finishes and can be used for hunting, sporting, home, and land defense, and by beginners. Be sure to order our free catalog and decals to see the collection from the comfort of your own home. Visit henryusa.com for a free catalog and decals. henryusa.com for a free catalog and decals.
Dan Bongino.
Are you...
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. White House Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says President Biden will lay out his economic vision for the Asia-Pacific at the APEC summit in San Francisco. The president also meeting with China's Xi Jinping. Israeli forces have raided Gaza's largest hospital. Israel says Shifa is a Hamas command post. It's nestled under civilians. Voting on the tentative contract agreement between General Motors and the United Auto Workers Union appears to be too close to call as tallies at more factories were announced. Voting is continuing at Ford. The contract was passing overwhelmingly in early voting at Stellantis. On Wall Street, the Dow is ahead 146 points now. The S&P 500 adding a dozen points. This is SRN News.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I'm Corey, and this is my story. I was going through some financial troubles paying off my credit cards. I was paying high interest rates, and it just wasn't getting any better. And I knew I had to do something. So my mom told me about Trinity, and so I decided to call. Trinity was able to do something that I couldn't. I'm paying off my debt. I'm saving thousands, and things are really looking up. I promise you guys, you will not regret it when you call Trinity, because it was such a relief and less stress in my life, and it was the best thing I could have done for myself, because once I called Trinity, they took care of me, and I felt such a relief, a weight off my shoulders. Trinity was great to work with. They wanted to help me. I love it.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
I'm Corey, and I'm debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Everybody has a right to have their opinion and voice their opinion.
Live and local.
I always approach it from this standpoint. Leftist malfeasance is presupposed.
This is News Talk STL.
Planning a party with family, friends, maybe a business party. Cafe Napoli has 4 locations, and each has rooms to fit your needs. But a word to the wise, book early. Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Cafe Napoli in Town and Country, Napoli 3 on the streets of St. Charles, or right next door, Napoli C. Also get some Cafe Napoli gift cards, good for all locations, anytime. I'll see you at Cafe Napoli.
This is Rob with St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, and we'd like to let you know you don't have to maintain the grout in your home anymore. The grout on the floor or in your shower or bath area. How would you like zero grout in your bathroom? At St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, we focus on grout-free options for your bathroom. If you hate cleaning grout, St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, 314-477-6476. 314-477-6476. Give us a call.
Are you looking for an awesome space to have an incredible event this season, this holiday season, or just for any reason whatsoever? Your one-stop shop is View 17. That's VUE17.com, VUE17.com. Ultra-modern media conference and event center. You can have just about any event you can dream up there. It's on the 17th floor in the heart of the county of St. Louis. Check them out today. You will be impressed, and so will your guests. VUE17.com, View17.com.
Columbo and Katie.
Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey has released the Gardner Report. We'll get some important insight on Wednesday from Rodney Boyd at 2:20. Plus, we'll have some fun and open Closest Cabinet at 3:05.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Be heard. Call 844-4-the-USA now to let Dan know what you think. 844-484-3872. The Dan Bongino Show.
Jim, Randy asked me during the break, Randy W., if I ever get mad when I get cut off mid-sentence when I'm talking by the clock. No, not at all, Randy. Jim warns me all the time. Like, it's not like the time. It's not like I don't know the time I'm supposed to stop talking. I do. I just ignore it, basically. I don't know. If I got something to say, it's coming out, even if no one hears it. Be like, I really like that candidate. Well, that's all you hear. And then I go on, Joey Bag of Donuts is really one. That's what you hear during it. Nobody hears that but anyone in the studio and Jim, but you don't hear it. If I got something to say, it's coming out no matter what. Yeah, you may have to edit the book. That's right. No, I don't get mad at all, but thank you for asking. Yeah, I got a lot of feedback. I mean, a lot on Nikki Haley coming out and demanding usernames and algorithms from social media companies in what is has to be probably the most poorly thought out. Jim, would you agree? Republican proposal from a candidate I've ever heard. I don't know who she thought she was appealing to with this. Here's my guess, folks. She's clearly trying to. All right, this is Jim. If I explain this poorly, shut me down. This primary is rapidly turning into who's going to be Trump's VP. Okay, it is. He's running away with it right now. Is it over? It's not over. Anything could happen. However, he's way ahead in the polls. We can all agree on that because we can read the same polls. Whether you agree polls matter, It's up to you, okay? I'm fair to every candidate here. Haley's trying to carve out a lane right now. There's the Trump lane, which is the lead lane right now. Then there's the I think I still got a shot lane, which is kind of like basically DeSantis and Vivek. And then there's the VP lane, which is what I'm convinced Nikki Haley's running for. You all basically agree with my analysis? So the problem Haley has is she has to distinguish herself and make herself stand out enough that she's a viable VP candidate. I think my analysis is right. So I think what happened is her people said, the way to get you out of the we still got a shot lane, but into the likely VP lane is to do something different than the other two, and you're going to be the national security hawk. You're going to run as the UN ambassador who, did that, remember her iconic moment at the UN where she voted down that thing. Remember, you're going to be the national security hawk. Excuse me, hairball. And to be the national security hawk, what you're going to do is you're going to come out with this proposal that we are going to police social media and make sure we get all the disinformation off it in the name of national security. Folks, the single dumbest idea I have ever heard a Republican candidate put out. I've never heard it. I can't imagine anything this stupid. So a couple of you came out and said, hey, she's ruining her shot at VP too. She is. She needs to dump this immediately, or she will have zero chance. Heidi says, let her self-destruct. Listen, I'm not in the business of letting people do. I'm here in the business of commentating. This is dumb. She sticks with this, she's going to go down in flames. Big time. There is zero chance, me as an investor in a tech platform, multiples, zero chance that I'm going to go along peacefully with the idea that we owe the government our algorithm and usernames. I mean, folks, if you work at some liberal company and you've got kids in a school and you want to comment online, but you don't want people to know who you are. This isn't the Gestapo. The government has no business knowing about what you're saying online. Have you committed some crime or something? Crazy idea. Run away from it as soon as you can. I don't know what she was thinking. Folks, we do have an election coming up, though, kind of switching gears a little bit. I've asked you the one key question that is going to be transformative in this next election. It's the question you need to tattoo on your cerebral cortex. Is it bad enough yet? The answer when I take this poll on my podcast is no. Most people understand, like I have, and you can see by last week's elections. Were those last week or the week? It's all blending in now. The elections, it isn't bad enough yet. Incredibly enough, despite the catastrophic public safety situation in a number of liberal cities, despite inflation, again, we got EJ and Tony coming on later to talk about it. Ted Cruz tomorrow, by the way, which is going to be pretty awesome. Despite inflation that has still not gone down, despite millions of people pouring across our border, despite a disastrous public safety situation, ladies and gentlemen, shockingly, it still isn't bad enough yet to change people's voting behavior. I'm not going to tell you the Rudy Giuliani story again. I've told it 1,000 times. But everybody, this is where I think the red wave talk comes from. A lot of moderates, Republicans, libertarians, and even hardcore conservatives, they see the world for what it is, not what it should be. And they look at this right now and say, Jim, would you agree? Like, how the hell could a single person vote Democrat? I get it. I get that you're saying that. I'm just telling you, you need to not see the world through your worldview. You need to see it through theirs. A lot of these people, folks, live in places like Greenwich, Connecticut, and elsewhere that candidly really haven't been that impacted by this stuff. They're worth millions of dollars. So what? Gas is $5 a gallon, $6 a gallon, even $7. What do they care? They don't even know. The wife pays the credit card bill most of the time. She's like, the guy's driving away. He don't even know. I haven't looked at my stuff in forever. I'm just telling you the truth. It doesn't affect them. They don't care. So why aren't they voting differently, these people? Because it's not bad enough yet. But there are two issues that make it bad enough. Hyperinflation and rampaging street crime. And we're not there. We're at bad inflation, but we're definitely not at hyperinflation. We got to be honest with ourselves. And I don't want it to get there. Hyperinflation and street crime. It changed in New York City when almost 3,000 people were murdered in 1 year. And New York City said, we're voting for something different. It changed nationally in 1980 and 84 when there were gas lines and inflation was raging in double digits and people were losing their livelihoods. Folks, we're just not there yet. Believe me, we're getting there. And this could happen quick, but we are not there yet. The street crime situation could change everything. I bring that up because did you hear this devastating story out of Philadelphia? This is the kind of stuff that starts making its way around the internet and local news that gets people scared. And for as much as it pains me to tell you, fear is a powerful motivator. People have been warning the Democrats for a long time. If you do not alter your perception as a party weak on public safety, it is going to cost you everything. This is a horrible story out of Philadelphia. Little background. There's a family out on their front lawn in the middle of the day, folks. This is not some nighttime 3 a.m. robbery. In the middle of the day, a group of demons come up, run out of the car with guns, force the family into the house. In front of the 4-year-old daughter in a diaper, they tie them up, steal the safe from the house, steal the money, the jewelry, everything else, and make off in a getaway car in the middle of the day. I want you to listen to this news report. Check this out.
A home invasion all caught on camera back on November the 6th. Police say one of the victims, a home-based business owner, was outside with his employee when 4 suspects pulled up in what appears to be a black Acura and quickly forced them inside at gunpoint. The disturbing video from inside the home on 7th Street shows the suspects pointing their guns at someone on the ground as a small child appears. We spoke to one of the victims who was tied up at gunpoint while his children watched. For his safety, he asked us not to show his face.
They hit me on my face 2 times.
He tells Fox 29 it all happened within minutes.
My daughter watched everything. She's scared. She crying. She crying too much. She make a lot of noise. They talk to her, shut up, or I'll kill you too. When they talking my daughter like that, oh my God, I want to die too.
The man telling us he and his family were tied up with zip ties and assaulted as the thieves ransacked their home and got away with a safe, firearms, and jewelry.
They take the whole safe. They know we have business because they ask you, where is the money? Where is the money? I say, I don't have money. They say, yeah, you have money here.
He's now left keeping his head on a swivel, wondering who would do this to him and his family.
Folks, sounds like an inside job. Sounds like an inside job. Listen, I live in Florida, in a safe part of Florida. Stuff like this rarely happens. It happens. There's crime everywhere. How bad does it have to get? And the answer is probably a lot worse. When you go to New York City now, I don't know. I mean, how many homicides did they have last year in New York City? Probably, I don't know. If it was a bad year, 400, 500? We're not even close to where we were, where New York City residents voted for something different. We're not even in the ballpark. This is why I keep telling people, if you're talking about a red wave, please, not on my show. I'll hear you out, and then I'm sorry. I'm going to have to shut you down. I do not want to hear anything about a red wave. We're not even close to bad enough yet. The craziest thing is you could stop this. If liberals and Democrats just voted for sanity, they could stop the carnage that's about to happen, but they refuse to do it. They won't do it. It is only going to get worse, and that's why I get some negative feedback when I say this, but I'm sticking by it, man, because I believe it. Get out of these blue states while you can. Get out. There is nothing for you there. It's not giving up. It's not quitting. I mean, can I give you an analogy? Maybe it'll make more sense. Jim, permission for an analogy is granted? Okay, thank you. This is absolutely. Okay, good to know. You're walking down a street in Far Rockaway. I bring this up because this actually happened to me. We were at, it was an old high school, Stella Maris, and my girlfriend at the time went there. So It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I had one of those high school dances, and we were waiting for my friend's father to pick us up. We see a group of these guys in Far Rockaway. There's 3 of us. There's seriously 30 to 40 of them. They didn't like us being in their hood. Do you go, hey, fellas, come on over. I'm going to fight it out? No, you don't. They jumped us. My friend got put in the hospital. The only way we got out of there is a couple of people in a bar pulled us into the bar and locked the door. That actually happened. My friend Brian wound up in the hospital. He lost some of his eyesight in his left eye. True story. Why didn't we take him on? Because it's a fight you can't win. Now, they want to send 3 guys over and duke it out. Okay, 3-on-3 is not too bad. I'm willing to partake in that. You have no chance in these blue states anymore. Here, read this headline from the story. New York Post, woman threatened by homeless would-be mugger wishes her hero vigilante gunman didn't fire the weapon. I was terrified. You can't even help people out. How can you possibly win? I'll say this. I said it before. If you go look it up, the article's still there. I once wrote a piece, an editorial at IJ Review about staying behind and fighting in these blue states. Folks, I've changed my mind on that. They are not savable because we keep saving them from them. It is sane Republicans, when things get kind of bad, that bring it back to not kind of bad, but never get it to good. If we were to leave and go fortify swing states and red states and let liberals suffer from liberals' own policies, they asked for it, let them have it. They would vote for something different because they would make the connection between what they're voting for and what is. No, they won't. Yes, they will. I saw it in New York City. When, again, it got so bad and Republicans were such a non-entity in New York that the place turned into a freaking war zone. And finally, liberals said, we've had enough. You can't save them. I got more on this coming up, including Mayor Eric Adams in New York, finally vocalizing what we all know about the Democrat Party. That if you're going to spend a bunch of taxpayer dollars on illegal immigrants and other liberal, wish list stuff, eventually you're going to screw over your own people. And now they're suffering for it. You see what I mean? Coming up next. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
Folks, the unthinkable is happening. No more surprises. It's all out in the open. Our so-called trusted institutions tell you not to worry. Everything's going to be fine, but you know better. You won't allow yourself to be blindsided again. Join the folks like me investing in emergency food storage. You can trust My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest preparedness company. Pick up their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit with breakfast, lunches, dinners that last up to 25 years. Their delicious meals offer over 2,000 calories a day. Just add water and heat and then eat it. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and get a 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply for each member of your family. I have one for each member of mine. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-the-grid room heaters for power outages, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and critical survival gear that may come in handy soon. Visit MyPatriotSupply.com and prepare for the fallout. Visit MyPatriotSupply.com, MyPatriotSupply.com.
Dan Bongino.
What happens next?
We'll create a better future for everyone, a future of a normal life.
Happens right here.
Hamas, ISIS has to be defeated.
Israel has to be in a position to be able to defend itself.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. We have an exciting new training opportunity available for public school and Christian school teachers. The Herzog Foundation Institute has partnered with the Bill of Rights Institute to offer 4 training events in 4 Missouri cities this year. These day-long professional development opportunities are best suited for middle and high school civics, government, U.S. history, and social studies teachers. Middle and high school teachers have a unique opportunity to strengthen civic knowledge and values for the next generation. We want to help teachers seize this opportunity.
Visit herzogfoundation.com/events to learn more and register for a Bill of Rights Institute training event near you. herzogfoundation.com/events. herzogfoundation.com/events.
Hey, Columbo here with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Just mention the Columbo special when you book a cleaning in November, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 plus $50 off an air duct cleaning. We trust Zero Res because they're simply the best when it comes to cleaning any surface in your home, and they stand behind every cleaning with their gotta love it guarantee. Just remember to mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Hi, it's Todd Showalter along with my buddy Joey V from The Right Mind Show. Say hi, Joey.
No thanks.
Join us every Saturday at 5 p.m. when we put the fun in our dysfunctional world. Want to add anything, Joey?
Oh, no thank you.
Plus, exciting guest and King Kirby from DiscountCoffee.com. Take us out, Joey.
Get Jim Modulin to do it.
Putting the fun in our dysfunctional world. It's The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter. Saturday afternoons at 5 on NewstalkSTL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Wednesday, State Senator Bill Eigel, candidate for governor, with a big announcement at 4:25. Chris's Corner, the Speaker's stump speech, and Joey V on the wheels of steel.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on Newstalk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Newstalk STL.
You might just hear something that can change your life, or you might not. But why take that chance? The Dan Bongino Show.
Jim, what I tell you at the beginning of the show, that we got great listeners, but sometimes it's a crazy news day, and people will say, I can't believe you haven't covered this story yet. George, who's a regular messenger on Facebook at a P1, he's all upset. I cannot believe you haven't covered the Las Vegas incident. George, patience, young Padawan. If you listen to the podcast, we covered it at length, by the way. And we haven't even that was, Jim, was that not actually next on the rundown? Just say, open up your mic. Tell George, Jim, as God is my judge, I would never use his name in vain. Is that not next on the rundown?
It is absolutely the next thing.
Okay, thank you. George, be patient. I want to give it its time. These are the short segments. I got a lot of stuff to get to. Stand with me, brother. I got you. Folks, for 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When I say only, trust me, they're the only one. Glenn and the team over at Patriot Mobile love you guys. You're flocking over there to Patriot Mobile because you're tired of woke mobile and supporting these losers. I just added that in because they are losers. Patriot Mobile are not losers. They're winners. They offer dependable nationwide coverage, giving you the ability to access all 3 major networks. It means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the loser lefty companies. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're sending the message you support free speech, religious freedom, the sanctity of life, the Second Amendment, and our military and veteran first responder heroes as well. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching easy. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. The team will help you find the best plan for your needs. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the offer code Dan. Join me and make the switch today. patriotmobile.com/Dan. That's patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT.
Dan Bongino.
Well, because it was the next element, I'm going to play this audio. This is a horrible case out of Las Vegas. I got to get to the audio quick, but it's a father of a 15-year-old beaten to death. But there's a reason he mentions unique circumstances here. Jim, play that cut.
You think the police are dragging their feet for some reason? I can't figure it out.
Well, I can tell you that I've sat down and have meetings with these detectives, and they're very highly efficient at their work. I think that there's a lot of other unique factors involved. Unfortunately, the school went and gathered up some of these kids before, even though they were told not to. And, I think that they were just trying to help, but it ended up causing a lot of problems. So the investigation got more complex.
Yeah. Jonathan, I'm so sorry. And I know you raised your son right in a really incredible way. And I'm thankful that there are people like him out there. Appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. And I just hope that the community can kind of come together and find a sense of peace and love for each other.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Why haven't you heard much about this story? Apparently a fight over some AirPods winds up a brawl. A kid gets jumped by 15 kids. Kid's dead. And the young men involved, it's interesting how the national media has kind of ignored this story. I ask you again, is it bad enough yet? The reason it isn't bad enough yet for a lot of people is because a lot of people don't know how bad it is because the media selectively filters out stories it wants you to see and not see. Now, why would they want you to not see this one? Well, maybe it doesn't fit the narrative du jour. The young man who died happened to be white, which shouldn't matter at all. He's a victim of a horrific crime. And some of the perpetrators happen to be minority. So all of a sudden, the mainstream media, we'll let that go. No, let's not let it go. Now you see why it's not bad enough yet? Because there are people out there who will never hear this story if you're not listening to this show, my podcast, or conservative media, where we take all crime.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
I am here with Dr. Howard Wall. Howard, this economy has been tough on a lot of people, and some people just say, listen, tax those rich people more. That'll help.
Well, count me as one of the few people who are willing to say that rich people pay too big a share of taxes. You heard that right. I think rich people might need a tax break.
Well, wait a minute. There's going to be some people that don't like that.
Well, you might be surprised to learn that, the top 20% provide more than 2/3 of federal tax revenue already. That's more than triple the share paid by the next 20%, who are also pretty well off. I'm not saying tax shares shouldn't rise with income, but I think we're at a point where some ideas are more about envy than about fairness.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
800-797-0711. 800-797-0711. 800-797-0711. That's 800-797-0711.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The Israeli military has entered Gaza's main hospital after killing 5 Hamas gunmen in the firefight outside that facility.
The Israeli Defense Forces say that they are carrying out what they say are precise and targeted operations inside Al-Shifa Hospital, the largest hospital in Gaza. And a spokesman for the IDF says that no fighting has taken place inside the hospital. We understand that more than 100 Israeli troops are inside, and they are ordering men over the age of 16 to come out into the courtyard. A journalist inside the hospital has told us that the Israeli military is in complete control of the hospital and that they have been going going from room to room, floor to floor, interrogating people.
BBC correspondent Mark Lowen. A top Ukraine official says its troops have established a foothold on the eastern bank of the Dnieper River near Kherson. The development could be significant for Ukrainian troops in bridging one of Russia's most significant strategic barriers. The river became a natural dividing line along the southern battlefront after Russia forces left the city of Kherson and a territory around a year ago. Also at townhall.com, House Speaker Mike Johnson was able to win bipartisan support for a temporary funding bill to avert a government shutdown later this week. Democrats helped pass the measure, while more than 90 Republicans voted no. Some on the right flank of the GOP demanded budget cuts, but Johnson held firm.
We're not surrendering. We're fighting, but you have to be wise about choosing the fights. You got to fight the fights that you can win, and we're going to. And you're going to see this House majority stand together on our principle, and we're going to do that.
The Senate will now take up the budget bill. The Dow had 113 points, and the NASDAQ is adding 20. More at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, and evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. Because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word FAITH to 989898 and you're going to be blessed by...
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
If this is Wednesday, it'd be a great day to visit San Francisco. After 5 years of streets littered with dirty needles, feces, trash, filthy tents, aggressive vagrants, drug dealers, the city took action and cleaned it up. Oh, why? Well, because China's dictator is in San Francisco. And even Governor Newsom admits, I know folks say they're just cleaning this place up because these fancy leaders are coming into town. And Newsom admitted, saying, that's true because it's true. John Nolte, writing for Breitbart, said, Democrats who run the city and state obviously had the funds and know how to clean it up long before now, but they chose not to. He said that bears repeating. They chose not to. You just have to live in this filth unless we have a Chinese dictator coming to our city. He said that's the same for other cities that are having this kind of issue. They're like battered wives who won't leave, believing this guy's the only one who loves me. Well, today, maybe not tomorrow, or the next day for sure, would be a good time to visit San Francisco. Thanks to a Chinese communist dictator, finally the streets are better.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hundreds of homeowners and businesses had or will have water main breaks. Wellington Environmental has a warning. You can clean up the water, but if you're not checking areas where the water leaked in the walls where you can't see it, you could end up exposing your family, your employees, your clients to hazardous mold. Wellington Environmental reminds you, if that mold is not detected, properly treated, removed, that is a risk, a liability you do not want. Wellington clients, including hospitals and schools, trust Wellington to make their environments safe. Call 314-644-4930, 644-4930. AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau, 314-644-4930. Wellington Environmental, your world, cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Tim Jones here to announce that Professional Irrigation Systems is now Pro Outdoor. The change reflects their commitment to the innovation of the industry, expansion of services they offer that our family has used for years. Lawn fertilization, landscape maintenance, outdoor lighting, of course, irrigation. Their commitment to their customers remains the highest priority. Same team, same awesome equipment, same quality of service you've come to know and love. To learn more about their services, including fall specials, call them 636-565-0196 or anytime 24/7 at ProOutdoor.com. That's ProOutdoor.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I don't know where I would get the truth if it weren't for you.
Live and local.
Welcome to the People's Republic of America stand. Here comes another roller coaster, another circus.
This is News Talk STL. This hour of the Dan Bongino Show brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit STLFenceworks.com.
Something up because it upset me a lot. There's a lady who commented during the break. She thought I was taking a shot at Las Vegas PD over that Las Vegas case. I don't know where you'd get that from, but if you thought it, then it happened. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If you thought it, it's certainly real to you, which makes it real enough to me. That was not the case at all. I know arrests have been made. I'm well aware of that. And if that came out the wrong way, then my sincere apologies. I love police officers. I love them to death. They show up at book signings. I always spend extra time with them because I know what it's like to, go to work. It's a job that's very unique. Not the only job. I mean, construction workers certainly have the same problem, but it's one of those jobs you go to work where there's a not that small chance you may not come home. That was a story about the media coverage, and is it bad enough yet? The point I was trying to make, maybe poorly, but a couple of listeners commented on it. If it's one, I typically, because, I don't like one person to dictate the whole show, but if it's more than one, probably other people were thinking that. The point I'm trying to make about my is it bad enough theory, that however bad you intelligent conservatives out there in the audience think things are, the border, the economy, and they are, public safety, the story liberals are getting from mouthpieces in the media and their government officials are, things aren't that bad. Inflation's down 65%. You notice how they phrase everything? It is. The problem is prices aren't down at all. But you see how the dipsy-do flipperoo, how when you flip an argument and you make it about the inflation rate, not about the price level people pay, all of a sudden it sounds like things aren't too bad. That's the point I was making. It's not a critique of the cops. I know they've made arrests. I can't imagine the pressure. And if the situation were reversed and the victim was a minority and the attackers were white, this would be, the FBI would be involved, the National Guard would be called in. I can only imagine the pressure they're under. But no, this was not a knock on the cops at all. This is it bad enough theory is something you need to understand because it's not a theory, it's real. People will not vote until the situation has gotten catastrophic. It doesn't mean we can't win elections, folks. We won in 2016. I'd argue we won in 2020 with all the shenanigans involved. We won. We can win. It was a rout in 2016. We won seats we had no business winning. We can win. What I'm suggesting to you with this is it bad enough theory is in order for a Reagan-esque 40 plus 49 state landslide, a Giuliani 18-point reelection that happened in his reelection effort in a blue state, in a 50-50 country, it has to get, sadly, really, really bad. And for however bad you think it is, we're not even close. Jim was kind enough. I'll give you want to put some meat on the bone? Because it's easy to talk smack. It's another thing to put data and receipts behind it, correct? When Giuliani took the mayorship in New York, over 2,000 people were murdered in New York City. That's an insane number. You're probably thinking, wow, that's a lot. It's probably getting like that now. No, it's not. Only 400, not only, it's they're dead people. But 433. We're not even close. You're at a fourth, a fifth of where they were. I'm just trying to give you a realistic assessment of where we are as a country and this is why I don't want to hear ever again about a red wave. I don't want to hear about it. Because what happens is it dissuades marginal voters from voting who think, oh, I don't need to vote. There's going to be a red wave. People are pissed off and we're just going to boot Biden out. Folks, I got news for you. Biden's got right now probably a 50% chance of winning. No, yes. No, yes. Anyone telling you otherwise is lying. They'll never. Yes, they will. But I heard the same last time. Oatmeal brains got no shot in the midterms. Oh, we're going to wipe them out. Wipe them out. We got wiped out. It's not bad enough yet. Our job on the radio is to be brokers of truth. And when the situation is bad, it is our job to tell people so they can vote accordingly to change it. If things are good, it is our job to inform them too so they can vote to keep it. The problem is things are almost never good under Democrats, ever. Here's a perfect example. Jim, cue up for me, if you would, cut 6. You know, this isn't an economics show. It's a talk show about politics. But you know I love economics, and I'm very passionate about it. Because it blends everything I did in my academic life. Folks, if I may, Jim, can I get a dispensation from the degree rule, college degree rule? Is it okay? You sure? Okay. What's the college degree rule? If you mention your education, you are almost always a moron. And there's almost no circumstance where you don't look like a tool. I tell you, I've got a PhD. Nobody cares, bro. Nobody cares. So Jim gave me a one-time dispensation here. It matters for this segment. I'm fascinated by economics because it marries the two things I love, business and psychology. And I did both an MBA and a graduate degree in neuropsychology. And economics is kind of a symbiote of those two things. Why do people try to rationally maximize their own life and make the economic decisions they do? It's fascinating. I mean, people call it the dismal science. It's not dismal at all. I find it to be the most fascinating one. And what I really find fascinating about economics is how easy it is and how overcomplicated even some Republicans tend to make it. Democrats always overcomplicate it. There's a thing in economics, and it's very simple to understand. If you understand this, you'll understand 90% of economics. It's called an opportunity cost. There is a difference between a financial cost and an economic cost. They're not the same thing. I'll give you a quick example. It's going to apply to what just happened up in New York. How liberals, when it gets bad enough is when economics kicks them in the junk. And it hasn't yet, but it's starting up in New York. There's a difference between a financial cost and an economic cost. If my wife, Paula, who is a very talented database web developer, she can make a lot of money, hundreds of dollars an hour designing websites. She doesn't anymore. She manages my business, but she used to. If my wife were to forfeit that career and go out and, say, become a barista, nothing wrong with that, value in work, I'm not knocking anyone, but the pay's far less, correct? Say the pay's $20 an hour. Financially, my wife is better off, right? If she works 2 hours, she made $40. She's not economically better off, though. Those are not the same thing. A financial situation and the economic one are not the same thing. Economically, she's worse off. Because if she can charge $200 an hour and she chooses to make coffee for $20 an hour, she's actually losing economically $180 an hour. That's called an opportunity cost. The cost of a foregone opportunity. Liberals do not understand this at all, or they pretend not to. The communists just don't care about it. But the useful idiots genuinely don't understand it. And Eric Adams is just a useful idiot. He's just dumb. If you are going to tax New York City residents to death, you need to understand they are some of the highest tax residents of any municipality anywhere in the country if you live in New York City. People at the upper end of the income scale in New York City are paying upwards of 50% of their income, 40 to 50, to the government for almost nothing in return, for dirty streets, drugs, just garbage everywhere. You're paying for nothing. They're paying up to 50% of their income. And the liberals are living under this illusion that you can continue to take money to people and just dole it out to union benefits, police departments, fire departments, sanitation departments, social welfare programs, SNAP programs, illegal immigrants, public shelters, beautification projects, community empowerment. You understand? They don't understand the concept of an opportunity cost, that when you give money to illegal migrants in New York City, it has to come from another opportunity, which is to better your city for the actual citizens. Is it bad enough in New York? It's getting there. Listen to Eric Adams tell the residents in New York City, hey, man, some pain's coming because we just don't have any money anymore because we had to give a lot of it to illegal migrants. Check this out.
This is, this is all my time in government. This is probably one of the most painful exercises I've gone through. And, when we look at around police, what the numbers of our police officers are going to be, and how we've done so well in dropping crime in our city, when we look at the school safety agents, when we look at some of the other initiatives that we're doing, it's going to be extremely painful for New Yorkers. And that is why we continue to say we need help.
There it is. A useful idiot finally figuring out what an opportunity cost is. Gosh, if we call ourselves a sanctuary city, which is what I ran on, Mayor Eric Adams, then we're going to get a bunch of people claiming sanctuary who are here illegally. And then we're going to have to pay for their education and their housing. And then that money's got to come from somewhere, from a tax pool. And the tax pool means that the residents who paid into the tax pool are not going to get the benefit of the tax pool because it's going to go to other people who are not even legal residents. Wow, I just discovered economics in one lesson. Folks, I ask you, is it bad enough yet? Because it's not. Eric Adams gave that speech yesterday telling people in New York, giving 50% of their income to the city, state, and federal government. It's not all the city. But giving a large chunk of their income to government entities. He told them that goes on for 8 minutes or more. He says, parents, I may need you to volunteer in school. What? You're taxing me at 50% of my income is going to the state, federal, and local government. And you're telling me you're giving my money away to illegals, and after I give you 50% of my money, I have to go volunteer into the schools I already paid for? While I'm working, too, to give you more money? Folks, do you understand? This is liberalism. This clip is so important. I know this is the craziest thing. Is why I told you. Some days these shows, when it's not a heavy news day, they turn out to be the best shows ever. I saw this clip and I thought, this is the single most powerful explanation of liberal economic theory I've ever seen. And Eric Adams telling New Yorkers who are finding out for the first time that money's fungible, there's an opportunity cost to expenses, and liberalism has a cost. Where do you think this money's coming from? Is it bad enough yet that they're going to vote different? Absolutely not. Nope. Jim, turn on your mic a second. I need your opinion. You're a New Yorker like I. Jim's in Texas. I'm in Florida, but me, him, and Mike are all New Yorkers, right? Jim's actually a Mets fan, which makes him like a double super extra New Yorker. Think of all the pain he's had to endure since 1986. It's a lot.
It's not bad.
Is that their last World Series win? No, it's not bad enough yet. You're right. Serious question. If there were an election held tomorrow in New York City, I don't want to give you a predetermined answer here, and Eric Adams was running even against a squish Republican who's like a fake Democrat, who do you think wins and how do you think the vote breaks down? Like, give me the numbers.
Eric Adams, 60-40.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go even further. I'll say Eric Adams, 65-35. You're right. I guarantee you 65-30. Amazing, right? Everybody's complaining. Oh, this is so awful. They're illegal immigrants overrunning our schools, crime everywhere. It's not bad enough yet. This is not the story. Jim, remember NBC4? Remember CBS in New York? Ernie Anastas and what's the other guy's name? Chuck Scarborough. These are all liberals. They'll go on the news tomorrow and they'll be like, Rudy Giuliani's a racist. Like that's not those two specifically. They were actually pretty decent reporters back in the day. But the stations up there are totally left. The people in New York don't know it's bad enough because that's not what the media tells them. We're not there yet. 433 people were murdered in New York. That's a lot. Not as much as when I grew up. 2,000 were murdered. And then people figured, I think it's bad enough now. Awful, we got to have this conversation. But it's real. I got more coming up next, including a segment on the show, which, ladies and gentlemen, has no educational value whatsoever. I usually prefer edutainment, Boogie Down production style, educational entertainment. This segment I have coming up has zero educational value at all. But, oh, it's entertaining. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
Sleep, especially as you get older, is so critical, especially that deep, comforting sleep. Go to helixsleep.com/Dan and take the sleep quiz I took. I took it, was matched to the Midnight Lux. Helix knows that everyone's unique. So they have several different mattress models to match to you based on your body type and sleep preferences. Once you match, your mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. When you receive your Helix mattress, you'll be obsessed with it. It's quick and fun to unbox, and you won't believe how well you'll sleep. You'll wake up feeling rested and refreshed. They have a 10-year warranty, and Helix even has financing options and flexible payment plans. So a great night's sleep is never far away. Helix is offering 25%